Now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Oh yes, very good morning to you. This is Radio Generation 88.8 in Nairobi, Mombasa it's 90.7, Malindi 92.1, Lamu 92.6, of course Garissa 89.5, internationally accepted on rgk.co.ke. A very good morning to you. My name is Mungalambuve.
Good morning. My name is Trisha Wayua. And of course, if you want to tune to Radio Generation on our social media pages, remember it is Radio Gen KE. That is on Instagram, on TikTok. If you want to tune in on our X platform, it is Radio Gen KE. If you also want to follow us on our Facebook platform, it is at Radio Generation Kenya. Remember, this is the People's Breakfast starting from 6 to 10 a.m.
In case you're joining us, we're going to be having a very interesting conversation. That is, if you're joining us for the first time. But if you're a veteran of the show, karibu tena sana. Take your seat at your favorite corner and open rgk.co.ke, because the conversation over here is going to be more to today. By the top stories that are currently making headlines and trending, this ones you definitely don't want to miss. But we usually start the show by going through the day that the world or Kenya is celebrating. And from what I understand, leo hakuna siku ya kucelebratiwa.
Leo not.
We're not celebrating snakes, frogs.
Of course, kuda International Whales Day.
So, but you told me there's no international day.
Well, you know, some of the days when I come here with a specific day, there's usually a specific message that I want to pass across. Yeah, so for today,
so the day you introduced International Snake Day, what was the message you were passing with the
message?
Snake issue?
The message was, of course, snakes are important in balancing the ecosystem. Ecosystem. Yeah.
All right. So today we are looking on or focusing rather on whales.
Yeah, whales. Okay, there are so many maras, vanilla, chocolate, ice cream, vitu zingine too. They are not so much. We are not so much intentional with whatever is happening today. Yes.
Are we celebrating whales or are we celebrating flavors?
Well, today, the 23rd of July. I'll just mention a few. National Hot Enough for Your Day.
What?
Yeah. There's National Peanut Butter and Chocolate Day.
Okay.
You see, those are not so quite National Vanilla Ice Cream
I know
Day.
someone.
And actually, these ones majorly are for those Western countries. Yes.
I know someone who likes peanut butter and chocolate. I used to like it a lot back in the day, but nowadays, not so much into it. All right. So, clearly, you've said the days are not as important. Where is the train taking us today?
Yeah, the train is just taking us around here in Kenya. Tuko hapa nyumbani. Yeah, hapa nyumbani, and it is a quote from one famous late Wangari Maathai, that is from Kenya here. And this is what she said, that we do not measure the health of our society by how many millionaires it has, but by the well-being of its people.
Come again.
The late Wangari Maathai said, we do not measure the health of a society by how many millionaires it has, but by the well-being of its people.
All right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what can we say about the health of our country today?
So questionable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aye. So
questionable. When we talk about the environmental health also, although I know the country is trying right now in terms of we are planting trees. I know it is one thing that Wangari the late was really pushing for, the green environment. I know we are really trying, and especially people planting trees all over. That is for the environmental health. Political health, hapo ndo kuna shida. We are really sick as a country. Politically, we are sick.
Yeah, tuko na marasmus.
Yes.
Ama ni kwa shiako.
I can't even explain, like tuko katika a very bad condition as a country, because we are seeing what politics is doing in our country.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you also look at the people socially also, we have a lot of question marks. in terms of social health in our country also. Looking at the mental health, especially for the young people, it is also questionable. So as we stand right now, even as the president really pushes the fact that we are doing well, we are recovering economically, it is quite important that we also consider the well-being of Kenyans in terms of the social health, in terms of mental health, and so many other things.
Siko baya. Lakini hapo kwa ati the country's economy is recovering. But I'm not an economist though. It's just that I don't see how that is true. Unfortunately,
that is why we have been we have been pointing out this issue of, yes, we have an economy that feels like it is recovering, well, according to the data that the government is providing. Sawa. But then now when you look at now what people are feeling down here, it's quite different. That's why we said tunaweza kuwa tunasema economy yetu inafanya vizuri sana, but it is just doing good for a few Kenyans.
Yeah.
So that's why we said, that's why she said, not because of the number of millionaires that a country has,
but the well-being of its people.
Yes.
Okay.
In general.
We shall be having by day some of those conversations here today, to be specific, with our guests. I hope they do make it. Unajua siku hizi mtu anakuambianga before mwende mlale, hey, I'll be there. Alafu mnaamka anakosa kukuja.
Saa zingine anapatana na traffic. Anapata the roads are barricaded.
Okay. But wengine nashuku ni hangover inawasumbua. Anyway, let's get down to the stories on rgk.co.ke. So log on to www.rgk.co.ke and you will see all the top stories that have been making headlines in the last couple of hours. So in case you have missed something, which by the way, we do have stories that are fresh, even as fresh as 5 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago, 7 hours ago. Some of you are still asleep 7 hours ago. So if you've just woken up and you're wondering, what is this movie saying? Let's start. Now, there's a story here about Medihill. I don't know if you all remember this story that broke out a couple of, it was like what, 2-3 months ago? It was broken either, was it by Doshiwele or was it by BBC? But this is a story. A government appointed committee investigating claims of organ trafficking at Medihill Hospital in Eldoret has recommended immediate criminal investigations against the hospital's founder, Dr. Swarap Mishra, over his alleged involvement in a kidney transplant scandal. Now, the damning findings are contained in a 314-page report submitted to Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale on Tuesday. The report, compiled after 3 months of investigations, revealed serious irregularities, suggesting the existence of an international organ trafficking ring operating through the hospital. According to the committee, which was chaired by Professor Elizabeth Bukusi of the Kenya Medical Research Institute, Medihill facilitated 417 kidney donations and 340 transplants between 2018 and March 2025. Men accounted for 77% of both donors and recipients. Now, the report shows that 44% of the donors were Kenyans, while 16.8% were foreigners. I'll stop it there. You can read the entire story on rgk.co.ke under the health and wellness tab. But this is quite 417 kidney donations.
Sometimes the things that happen in our country, sometimes you are just left with a shock. You just don't understand. Kwani serikali inakuanga wapi?
Okay, kuna mtu alisema hata Malimedi Hill ilikuwa. Malimedi Hill iko huko Eldoret. It is right next to DCI offices in Eldoret. Yeah? And sometimes they say the best place to hide is in plain sight. Because you see, if you've committed a crime and I don't know who you are, and I don't know, or rather that you are the one who committed the crime, the best place to hide is just here. Because sita kushuku, because a criminal always hides.
Yes.
Sindio? So nitakuwa nafikiria nani alifanya hivyo na kumbe nimeketi na yetu hapa. So anyway, for this situation, Medihill and the DCI HQ in Eldoret, literally the only difference is a fence. Fence side moja ni Medihill, fence your side ingine ni DCI. How this one went under their radar is beyond me.
Well, one thing that is really coming out in trying to push sanity in these hospitals, organizations and so forth actually is the fact that stories za kufuatilia kwa mfano kama masuala ya hospitali si DCI you get so we have a ministry that has the responsibility of putting all hospital facilities in check. Yeah, we have a ministry that has that work. So a DCI unajua mnaweza kuwa mko neighbors, but they cannot come for you, not unless they are getting permission from the ministry. You get. So it's quite important. Kitu ya kwanza, every ministry ikikuwa tu serious na kazi ya kwake, kuna levels zingine hatutafikia. Like whatever we are seeing right now, kama juzi tumeona hiyo crackdown yenye inaendelea about hospitals, about fake doctors, quack doctors, hospitali zenye hazijafikia viwango venye zinahitajika kufikia. Whatever we are seeing, at least is a good step that if each other ministry follows, kila mtu anaingia kwa crackdown katika ministry yako. Kuna vitu zingine by the way imekuwa tu ni kulala ya serikali, wamelalia kazi.
Well,
ministries.
I'd like to differ with you on one aspect. DCI kazi yao ni Directorate of Criminal Investigations. It doesn't matter who is committing the crime or where the crime is being committed, as long as it's within the territory of Kenya, DCI will investigate. So whether it's a medical facility such as a hospital, whether it's a financial institution such as a bank, hawatasema until CBK ama Ministry of the Treasury rather watuambia tuende to investigate bank, sisi kama DCI to investigate. If they suspect a crime is being committed and there's, let's even say a whistleblower or a tip from a member of public, aseme look, pale kwa ile hospitali kuna vitu zinafanyika, DCI wanafaa kwenda kuangalia. So anyway, but let me just bring things to perspective here, because Medihill, like you've rightly said, yes, the Ministry of Health clearly should be keeping their house in check, just knowing mali kuna uchafu, clean up where they need to clean up. That means they should be doing what are they called? Like do I call them? They're not called appraisals. What are they called? Like visits to these facilities, just to ensure that they are complying as they should. They should have gone to Medihill, waangalie, okay, hiyo hospitali for the last 1 year umekuwa namna gani, how many deaths have occurred here, why did they occur, okay, how many transplants are you guys doing, who are the donors, and just to counter check that the information that is getting to the ministry is the same information that they are getting on the ground. Yeah, how to phrase that in terms of
that is auditing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Thank you. They should be auditing their facilities, whether private or public. Yeah, so that wamesema this has been happening for how long? Since between 2018 and March 2025. How many years are those? 7 years.
Those are so many years, and that's
7 years. Yani vitu zimekuwa zikifanyika na hamjui.
That is why I was saying, because of course most of the time we have that tuko na hiyo tabia kama hizi ministries ama inchi, we ignore. Tuko na tabia tendency of ignoring information. Unajua watu utasikia tu fununu watu akisema ile hospitali wanafanya hivi na hivi, but you realize that sasa hiyo ni kazi ya ministry. Inatakiwa like mmesikia hizi vitu, ukisikia watu pale watu wanasema kwamba pali kuna moshi,
hapako si moto.
Yes. So ukiona hiyo moshi, it is now upon the ministry to start ile tu mnaanza tu investigations zenu, ama mnakuja tu mnafanya audit, you get to understand, because ukisikia watu wakizungumza kitu, there is usually something.
Kuna mtu alisema however that perhaps siati gava haiko inajua, walikuwa wanajua, especially uko kwa ministry to be specific.
Yeah.
And perhaps even by extension kwa DCI walikuwa wanajua, however walikanyagia story kwa sababu someone from Medihill was probably seeing them kando. What we call in Kenya za macho. Ndio ufanye nini? Funge macho yako.
Funge macho.
So shika za macho, wewe funga macho. Assume hujui nini kinafanyika pale. Actually as a matter of fact, hata hujaangalia pale. So in case mtu akuulize, because from 2018 to 2025 I watched that documentary that was released about this particular hospital.
Yes.
And so many individuals that had been part of this let me call it crime, part of this crime, especially those who donated the kidneys. They're saying that even the amount of money they were promised, it is not what they received in the end. So for example, I can't remember the amounts, but there are some people who are promised, let's even say, and this is just for the sake of argument, 500,000. After your transplant, the deposit that you were given of 100,000, that is the only money that you got.
The rest of the money you forget about it.
Yes.
Yeah, mnaanza kusumbuana.
And yet mwenye maybe amepata kidney yako alilipa hiyo hospitali upwards of even 5 to 10 million depending. Yeye amelipa milioni zake 5, na sisemi ati ni sawa. I am just saying that at the end of the day, as illegal as it is, you can imagine you were promised 500,000. And it is because watu wenye walikuwa na promise hiyo pesa, 500,000 kwao ni pesa mingi sana. Mimi as Paul Mungala Mbuvi, you can't offer me 500,000 for anything and I accept. There is nothing. 500,000 doesn't make sense to me right now,
and especially in terms of your body organs, surely.
Yes. 500,000 haitanisaidia. 500,000 haitanibaia shamba mali nataka. 500,000 hata hizi nunua gari siku hizi. 10 years ago 500,000 ingekubaia I think a Mazda Demio. 500,000 right now, to be honest, is useless money. But of course there are some people who are very desperate and they will take that money. So you can imagine someone was given like 100,000, 200,000, they do not have a kidney. And by the way, even after such an operation, there is medication that you will need, and sometimes for the rest of your life. Some of these people never got it, because I remember there's a mother who was saying that her son donated his kidney unknowingly, without knowing the terms and conditions vizuri, and to date he's suffering. He still has medical conditions arising from that operation.
Well, I think it's also an eye opener to Kenyans. Sometimes kuna vitu kwa Kenya tunafanya za ajabu sana. Why do you want to go and sell part of your body surely while you are still living?
Imagine they don't know. See, by the way, I wouldn't even blame the victims, because here, let me call them victims because that's what they are. I wouldn't blame them because unajua mimi na wewe tuko privilege, tuko na bahati. At the end of the month kuna something that comes through and you can make ends meet. These people have got nothing apart from just themselves. Mtu anakuja naambiwa ni aje, you have 2 kidneys, you don't need both. This one kidney you have, you can sell it for 500,000. Mtu anakaa hivi, mtu by the most money ameiguza maybe ni 1,000. Cumulatively 5,000.
Mbuvi, looking at some of the people who are victims of that crime sometimes
when unamuingiza box,
let me tell you, looking at some of the people who are victims of that crime, sometimes it's not because that mtu alikuwa ati akona shida mingi sana,
right?
It is not because like ilikuwa ni shida mingi sana hivyo ile kwamba like now you want to reduce part of your body organs so that you can be able to live. Surely, you know, sometimes issues to do with transplants of like the kidney, please, you only do them when it is necessary, like ukona somebody you want to save their life. Lakini kwenda kuanza kuuza mwili yako like in terms of you donate an organ so that you be paid, uanze kuishi, and then you don't know you have invited more problems to yourself.
Lakini wakati akiambiwa hivyo hajui, anaambiwa look, nitakupeleka ile hospitali pale. Utapatiwa, because they are usually recruited. There are some brokers who come and recruit them. Si ati yao ndo wanajipelekanga kwa hospitali ati ni aje nauza kidney yangu mnaitaka. Someone approaches them and tells them, look, you're a very young person, you're very healthy, maybe hata chances are anadanganyangwa yako ingine ita grow. Ukitupatia hiyo kuna ingine itamea. I don't know, I'm just assuming. Because by the time I agreed to undergo an operation, you need to convince me.
And that's why I said
you need to convince me.
That's why I said as a community we are sick. Sometimes the things that we are doing as Kenyans also, na ukiangalia kuna watoto wengine unaona tu ni mtu pia alienda shule, tusitamani vitu vya haraka jamani. Let me just tell people like kuna wale wanaelewa, kuna wengine kweli it's hawajui.
Yeah.
But kwa wale ambao mnaelewa, surely you remember the issue of hii yenye watu walikuwa wanaenda kuchukuliwa macho, ile watu walikuwa wanaenda kukodoa macho,
Worldcoin I think.
Walikuwa wanaenda kukodoa macho. Unaenda unakodoa macho pale hivi. Okay, I know it is technology na kuna vitu mingi sana zinafanyika pale ndani, but before you start engaging yourself in such things, do you ask yourselves why? Like mbona Because after now word has gone around nini, that's when now the government now through the was it bunge ndio sasa wabunge wanaitana kula wanasema bana kuna hii kitu yenye watu wakienda wanapoteza sight.
Hakuna watu wako wanapoteza site. Sometimes
sinasema yani kulingana na the discussions that they were doing in parliament, yes, they were like, oh, kulingana na hii kitu watu wanaenda, so that's what I'm saying, like
never trust politicians. Sometimes these guys just sensationalize issues for nothing.
So that
especially in parliament, even when you listen to the arguments, and that's why I say tukipeleka watu kwa bunge by the way watu wanajielewa. Lakini on that Worldcoin issue, there's even a former colleague of ours here. Alisema yeye Worldcoin ilikuwa inampatia upwards.
Alikuwa na yes.
Alituambia ilikuwa was it 8,000 shillings per month. Anasema by the time the government walikuja kukata hiyo story ya Worldcoin, alikuwa anatengeneza 15,000. Actually the last amount alipokea ilikuwa ni 15,000. Kuna watu walitengeneza pesa niyo kitu.
Yes, okay, basically the bottom line is kuna vitu zingine when as a Kenyan ukienda kufanya jiulize tu maswali 1 2 3.
Haya. There's a story here also that has been posted 47 minutes ago. This one is by Tanya Wanjiko. Amesema hivi, an autopsy has confirmed that Susan Kamengere Njoki, the CEO and founder of Total Touch Kenya, was manually strangled to death shortly after being forcibly taken from her home and admitted to Chiromo Hospital. Njoki died on July 15th, 2025 under unclear circumstances, just hours after what her family described as an abduction. Now, according to them, she was injected twice in her home without her consent, then taken away by individuals who claimed they had been sent by a doctor. She later received more injections at the hospital, again without explanation. Government pathologist Dr. J.N. Ndongo, who led the postmortem on Tuesday at the Montezuma Mona Lisa Funeral Home, said the findings were unanimous among the 6 pathologists present. We have done this postmortem very exhaustively, and all the various parties were present, or rather represented. There is no differing ideas. The bottom line findings were that the bottom line findings were that there were features of compression to the neck, and those features are in keeping with manual strangulation. There were also features of lack of oxygen in the blood as a result of neck compression, and all those features are in keeping with death as a result of manual strangulation, which we are all in consensus, he stated. All right. So, again, here's a situation. Did you listen to this audio by this lady Njoki?
Yes, I did.
The audio, she was talking very well, talking about how these people just came to her home without her consent, got in again without her consent, injected her several times without her consent, and she was talking very like alikuwa anasound tu ako sawa. Unajua, from the audio clip that I listened, and this is just my own deduction, she wasn't unwell. She was very cognitive. She didn't seem that she needed any kind of treatment of whatever kind. And by the time she was going to hospital, from again what I understand, kila kitu ilikuwa sawa. So there was no actually need to get her out of her home and take her to wherever. Now we know that DCI walikamata bwana yake for further questioning and investigation, of course. But now this new report by government pathologist Dr. J.N. Ndongo saying that she was actually strangled.
Yes, strangled too.
Why would anyone want to do that to Njoki?
You know, sometimes the things that we are watching all over, the things that are happening in our country, sometimes unajua unabaki na maswali. Like, so who is this run-to person? Because even the people that you feel like they love you, the people that you feel like they need to protect you, sometimes you end up being they are the people who are not who do not love you genuinely, the people who can just harm you in any way. So it's quite unfortunate. And most of the time we keep on insisting to like people in these relationships and marriages in general, sometimes if you see that things are not quite working, please, it's usually so advisable that you just kwanza step away kidogo, step out kidogo.
According to the family, they are saying that they were blocked from visiting Njoki at Chiromo Hospital with access allegedly pending approval from her husband. And that's when they were eventually informed of her death. Now, Mimi, I don't want to speculate anything because I am not DCI, I am not police, I am not a medical officer. However, Mimi niko na tu kitu ya kusema.
Say it.
And this one might be related or unrelated to this particular case. If you are in a relationship with a partner na hamuelewani na huyo partner, na wewe mwenyewe unaona una struggle kuelewana na huyo partner, mimi kitu naweza kukuambia ni ondoka. It's never that serious. There are very many men and women out here that you can link up with. You can always find love in other quarters. It doesn't have to be with the person that you are really estranged. Hii maneno ya Afrika tunakuanga na aibu ya nitaambia watu nini? Nimetoka kwa hii relationship, ndoa, sijui tuko na watoto 7. Sasa watu watafikiria nini? Watoto nitawalea vipi? It's never that serious.
Thank you for echoing what I had just said.
Kama ni kunoma, my friend, ondoka. Aya. One last story before we get into the traffic update and then we get into the newspaper review. There's a Sifuna issue here. I don't know if you guys know that Sifuna has admitted that ODM is in disarray and has apologized to supporters. Ameambia watu by the way, hata niwaambie tu ukweli, ni kubaya. So ODM Secretary Edwin Sifuna has admitted that the party is struggling with internal confusion and mixed messaging, leaving both its members and the public unsure of its direction and values. Yeah. So speaking on Citizen TV's The Explainer on Tuesday night, Sifuna expressed deep concern about the state of the party, saying that unity and clarity that once defined ODM have been lost, and he questioned whether the party still holds the same principles that it once stood for, citing growing contradictions within the leadership. Yeah. And this is what he said, like literally he was quoted. Right now there is a lot of confusion. I have told my party leader that there was a time when it was very easy to be the SG of ODM. You would wake me up in the middle of the night and ask me anything because we agreed that you can compromise on tactics, but you can never compromise on your values, he said. So Sifuna admitted that he no longer has the confidence to speak authoritatively about the party's stance on key issues such as devolution, civil liberties, and the right to protest. Secretary General.
Huyo ni Secretary ambaye always danatakiwa ana speak on behalf of the
yeye ndiye anatuambia msimamo wa chama.
Sasa anasema kwamba
now I like this bold new look that Kenya is taking, and the people of Kenya and the politicians of Kenya are taking. It is actually the right direction. A few weeks ago we said here we need to have honest conversations if we need to go forward. SG has had a very honest conversation last night, and I do hope that even his party, number one, wasimuattack, wasimcastigate, wasianze kumsumbua, kumchuja kwenye chama, lakini wasikize pia venye ground inasema. I believe there is still time, even for our very own government. I believe there is time for everyone to improve and actually turn things around.
Mbuvi,
yes,
we need to agree to the fact that things are really changing in our country.
Oh yes, they are.
By the way,
they are.
Approach to these political issues, governance issues, we must admit that things are changing.
Ni kweli.
Na tusibaki tuko tu adamant hapo hivyo, you want to ati mnataka cooperate kama kitambo. Sasa people can just come out na aseme tu mimi niko kwenye chama, lakini I do not support this and this. Yes, because initially kitambo ulikuwa ukitoka kidogo useme kitu ambacho sounds like iko against chama, iko against a coalition, then wewe unakuwa castigated. Unaambiwa you are not for the party.
Right.
Nakumbuka sometimes some ODM members were forced to write apology. Apology letters because of associating themselves with another party.
Right.
So kufikia hapo, I don't think, and I think if they are not careful, this could be the end
of ODM.
if they are not careful.
Haya, si mimi nimesema.
You know, when I say end, I don't mean like ile kabisa ile, but now, you know, I mean in its you know, ODM has been a very powerful party.
Right.
Yes. So, and if you are not careful, that power, ile power tulikuwa tunaona ama ODM walikuwa na possess, if they are not careful, they are going to lose it.
Tufanye traffic. So this is what is happening on the roads of Nairobi right now. I'm looking at Thika Super Highway. And Thika Super Highway tunasema kuna traffic kidogo tu kutoka Utalii Hotel pale as you're approaching Mathare Teaching and Referral Hospital, getting into Muthaiga Square, mnakani kama mmeshikamana hapo kidogo. Actually it's very red at this particular hour. Very red. Yes. Also watu wanatoka Kiambu Road, pia huko kunakaa vibaya tena sana. But Muthaiga Road looking very green. It's like watu wadosi hawajamka, because you know that road, we know where that road leads, eh? Yeah. All right, so we're going down Muranga Road, getting onto Globe flyover. Huko mnakaa mko sawa. Actually CBD right now is very empty, but we understand it's because it is 6:30. Nothing much happening on that particular road. Ninaangalia Westlands pia mnakaa hamna shida yoyote as you're going into Kangemi, and also coming from Kangemi getting into town. Things are looking good for you guys. No complaints coming from that particular area. Going back a little bit to Mombasa Road, let me see. Airtel hapo hivyo around Ole Sereni Emara hamna shida yoyote. Again going back, let me see. The entire road is looking very green at this particular hour, so I can only assume that you guys are moving okay.
Ngong Road, things are not that bad. And especially ukishapita junction, that is the place where there is a little of a congestion, and even pale Prestige. Then kutoka pale city mortuary, kuanzia hapo kunakuwa na bit of congestion, and tunajua tu because you're getting into town, so that's understandable. When you go to Jogoo Road, by the Jogoo Road there's some renovation taking place, that is between Makadara pale na Makongeni. So there is a bit of traffic kuanzia hapo, and actually even jana jioni there was a lot of traffic. All of this week kumekuwa na a lot of traffic around that area, and especially also as you get to town through the city stadium roundabout. Ngara pale I can see things are not that bad. Yeah, so expect that kuanzia samoja pale things will not be as good or as admirable as you might think. So kama unatoka nyumbani, this is the time to leave. Watu wa Mombasa, I can see your roads are quite okay, except pale lights Kengeleni tu peke yake, but the rest of the roads are quite okay.
All right, so that is what is happening on the roads right now. Anything changes, we will definitely keep you updated. Sawa. That is traffic at this particular hour. Let's see what is making headlines in the newspapers. And I have here the Standard with me. The front page says, the big con. Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat lied to the country about his stepping aside to pave the way for investigations into the death of Albert Ojwang at Central Police Station. In a June 16th statement, Lagat announced that he had opted to step aside to allow investigations to proceed unhindered, but fresh court filings reveal a different story. That he merely applied for an 18-day annual leave, approved the same day by Police IG Douglas Kanja, who wished him a restful break. Now, in a sworn reply, Lagat now insists that he never vacated office nor appointed a replacement, contradicting his own public statement. The open lie has reignited questions about his integrity, transparency, and truthfulness as a civil servant. Yeah?
Asema he has never vacated office.
Anasema wase, mimi si kusema nilienda mahali, nilikuwa leave. Nani alisema nilikuwa nimeenda? Nani? Now, this is what IG Kanja said. Following your application for annual leave, I am writing to confirm the approval and granted 18 days leave for the financial year 2024-2025, effective from June 17th, 2025. During your absence, your duties will be performed by your principal assistant. We wish you a restful leave.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's a letter here that was seen by the Standard and has been posted here. And this is what the letter reads. It is dated 16th June. In the good and conscious thought of my role and responsibilities as the Deputy Inspector General of Kenya Police Service, and in view of the ongoing investigations on the unfortunate incident of the death of Mr. Albert Ojwang, I have today opted to step aside from the office of the Deputy Inspector General, Kenya Police Service, pending completion of investigations. The functions of the office will henceforth be performed by my deputy until completion of the investigations. I undertake to provide any support that may be required of me during the investigations of the unfortunate incident. I offer immense condolence to the family of Mr. Albert Ojwang for their great loss. This is what the public was given. Tunakumbuka?
I remember.
But now, in a sworn affidavit, the man alikuwa ameenda annual leave. Na mdosi wake akamwambia, I wish you a restful.
Inaisha when kwanza hiyo leave?
Si imeisha?
Ndio imeisha sasa.
Iliisha kitambo, si jamaa alirudi kwa ofisi. Si tulisoma hapa amerudi kwa ofisi. Yeah, so that is what is on the front page of the Standard. Let's see what is on the inside, but you can read that story on pages 4 of the Standard if you're interested. Residents cry foul as commercial grazing threatens critical forests. Influential individuals have put up sheds with hundreds of livestock in Kaptagat forest. Depleted ecosystem is already causing serious water shortage and loss of biodiversity. Masai Mara listed in extraordinary global records for annual spectacle. That is on page 3. Parliament summons PS Kipto over e-citizen irregularities. Ruto has messed healthcare services, says nurses boss. Yeah, you can read that story on page 2. This is in regards to governance. While the country thought Lagat had stepped aside, he was on leave. Stories on page 4. Yeah, let me check one more page before we check out what is happening on is that the Daily Nation?
Yes.
Yeah. Ruto blame game on protest and alleged sponsors of violence. Stories on page 6. And then lastly on page 7, to stagger polls or not, debate rages on format. Now experts urge spaced out elections to ease IBC's logistical burden. Critics warn staggered polls may increase costs and political tension. So this is we can see the picture of Raila Odinga there. What is he saying? In a televised interview on Sunday, former PM Raila Odinga proposed that Kenya's elections be staggered to facilitate easier voting. Raila urged that holding a general election for 6 positions was cumbersome, a case made previously by various stakeholders, including the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We sat here with Mr. Oswago yesterday,
yes,
former IBC CEO, and he said the same thing. And me, I'm beginning to believe the experts. Yeah. But I never thought about it that way. For me, it was never a big deal because I usually walk into a polling station and I vote, I go home. Yeah. Or I go to work. Actually, most of the time I vote and I go back to work. But now here we are, we're being told that Raila anasema waidhe, perhaps we need to differentiate the presidential election from the rest of the elections.
Which makes sense which makes sense. Did you see the elections that were nullified, then now we got back to do? It was kind of easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By midday guys were done.
Yeah. So I think
although that time si watu wengi walitokezea, those
actually people did not come out
specifically as, supporters of Baba. Walisema hii sasa hii ni nini?
Na watu walilala.
Lakini baba mwenyewe ndiye alisema hii kitu bwana.
Usiende.
Alituambia bwana. But anyway, Oswago here, when he came here yesterday, alituambia that we strain the IBC so much. We strain them so much. So if advanced democracies are doing this, why are we struggling to remain in the past?
Tunataka tubaki tu hapo.
Tunafaa kuangalia wale wamekuwa wakifanya kitu sana na wameizoea na wanajua.
And it is coming out well. You know, the problem with us is every time we keep on saying that, anytime there is a broken system somewhere, there's somebody who benefits. Yeah, there's somebody benefit. And actually, when the system is like, people keep on trying to correct it. People trying correcting it and it never works. Mnaanza process ikifika mahali inarudi chini. So it means that kuna watu wana sabotage intentionally because somebody is benefiting from such. So today, like the proposals that he was making, if today we adopted such proposals, by then they are going to solve a lot, if not all the problems, but at least a percentage that would also increase the efficiency of election.
Yeah.
And the credibility of our elections, in the country.
Yeah, and also let's not forget Mzalendo Kiama alikuja pakasema that we also need to incorporate blockchain technology whereby you can just vote with your phone. And tuseme elections zitakuwa zinaanza saa 7. Sasa zile watu wako on maybe lunch break hivi sababu let's be honest, kuna watu pia hawamkangi mapema. Yeah, mnaamkanga sele mnajisikia. Waseme
ansisha to the normal working hours in Kenya 8 a.m.
Okay, sawa. Waseme basi voting starts at 8 a.m.
Yes.
And ends at 5 p.m. So if by 5 p.m. you've not voted, pole kwako. Yeah? And we just get on our phones and we vote. Na tunafunga hiyo story.
Well, a lot of security measures will be required.
Yeah, for example,
because
registering your phone as a voting device. Kwa hivyo kama unafaa kuvote on 8th of August, si ndio? And because we buy new phones all the time. So if you know that you're going to be having this specific phone on the 8th of August, you just register it. I'm assuming that maybe those are some of the measures we might need to use, or you register your line, because unaweza ibiwa simu yako the night before.
Yeah.
Before the voting. Na sasa
that's why I'm telling you,
you replace your SIM card and then you're allowed to vote. So I think that whole idea of using your telephone number, and let's be honest, like for example nowadays you can have several lines, but you register them with one ID. So you can only register one line to vote. Think of it that way, such that your main line, the one that you use for your mobile money transactions, for your bank transactions, that is your main line, right? So that is the line that you should use to vote. So that voting ikifunguliwa saa 2 asubuhi, you get your phone, vote for your candidates.
From wherever you are.
Yes. Vote for your candidates.
Yes.
Unaingia pale kwa website ya IEBC. Of course, you using your login details, it logs you in and it knows that this is Mungala Mbuvi, Nairobi County constituency yake ni Dagoretti, for example. And you're allowed to vote. So I vote for my MP, I vote for my MCA, I vote for my woman rep, I vote for my governor, and then I vote for my president, assuming we don't stagger the elections. Yeah. So I vote for my president and that's it. Like by 5 p.m.
Okay, you know,
washa gather votes zao zote, and because voting via the internet is real time.
It's real time. Well, it's okay, it's real time. But now you consider we have also the rural population.
Yes.
And some of them that are not techno savvy as we might think.
They use USSD.
Okay, ni sawa. Hata hiyo USSD. We have a big population in the rural areas, by the way. Hata hiyo, they do not know how to use it.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
For example, let me use me. My grandmother in Shags uses her phone to do her mobile money transactions. And mind you, she has a smartphone. And I'm talking a woman who is in her 80s, probably heading into 90s, kama hajagonga 90s tayari. So she's well into her late 80s. She knows how to use a smartphone. Saizi nikimtumia anapokeanga vizuri sana. Na ananiambia mjukuu wangu asanti.
Okay, that is her.
Yeah.
But we also have other population. Mi pia niko na shosho yangu, yes, ako na phone. But then you realize that kuna tu vitu zingine anapata challenge.
Okay.
Unaona? And she's also around the 80s, you get. So
hapo kwa challenge basi, si then haizi kosa mjukuu huko ushago ama mwanawe ama a nephew or a niece ama pia mfanyikazi. Because pia my shosha ako na mfanyikazi. Na she trusts her. Na wanapendana sana because tukienda hata ushago yeye ndio tushughulikia, and when we are not there yeye ndiye anashughulikia shosh. So anaweza shughulikia shosh in that way.
So Mungala,
shosh amwambie nipigie kura fulani.
Yes.
Na pige kura.
Well, it's okay. whatever, but this is my opinion, Trisha, that okay, it is a good, but that is a good platform. You get, but then now we really need to do a lot of feasibility study about that thing we want to use. It's quite important because there are so many challenges that I feel as Kenya nika hatujafikianga hapo bado.
Yeah, of course, because ni kitu hatujafanya before, hatuwezi sema ati mara ya kwanza tukifanya itakuwa tick.
I mean in terms in terms of kuna two challenges zingine, they are not basically, it's not si ya mtu binafsi, it's where we are as a country, especially in terms of technology and other things.
What I suggest then is we can do like a pilot program in this way.
That's okay.
In this way. So let's say right now we have some by-elections. It might be too late to do that.
Yes.
But if we had already the system in place, we would have tried them with these by-elections. Or in the next election, which is in about 2 years, we just start preparing right now. Yeah, because the technology is already there. We just need to adopt it. We say that we're going to use it for maybe, and it can also be done in like just one county, like in Nairobi County, or in a less populated county like Wajir. Okay, and we say in Wajir County we're going to try this blockchain technology, voting technology.
Yes.
But we're going to be voting for only the MCA positions, or we're going to be voting for the actually MCA makes sense. We try it out in a place like Wajir. We do a place like what is the name of this place, Wasingishu or Trans Nzoia.
Yeah, just say places that are not they do not have high population.
We choose a few places, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 counties, and we say we're only going to be voting for the MCA positions only. Just to test out the process.
So that is the feasibility study that I'm talking about. Like, let's start somewhere. We keep on, but not with the 2027. Okay, tuache tuseme 2032, because I think it is a thing that is coming up majorly with the young people.
Ama basi,
yes,
tuseme basi kwa hiyo blockchain technology hatutatumia kwa elections zote zinazokuja like za 2027, but we can have mock elections where the IBC says we are trying this technology and we have mock elections, and they give us mock candidates, like fake candidates. They say candidate A is called John Doe, candidate
running for presidency. Ndugu yangu unaweza pata umeshachagua serikali nyingine.
No, they give us fake names, people who don't exist.
Okay,
they give us those, they can even give us majina za watu wa kitambo. Dedan Kimathi and a run for president.
You know, there is a Dedan Kimathi also in this country right now.
JM Karaoke atakuwa running mate wake.
Majina za Mexicans huko.
Robert huko atakuwa MCA. Then we try it out. The entire country, all 50 million of us. Yeah? Okay, I don't know how many registered voters are there. Let's say like 20 million registered voters. They try it out and we see how it works. Okay. If it works well, watuambie, by then, do you know what? We might actually use this.
What I know is we really need to try, we really need to do that study, quite important, so that tuweze kuangalia where the challenges could be, because an election is not something, it will not be, it's not a try and error thing. Actually, it can cost us a lot.
It's true.
Yes,
it's true.
It can cost
us a lot. That's what I'm saying. We can do a mock election and see how that works.
Well, the daily newspaper, this is a big story about UDA big wigs plot exodus. The game plan 2027 political realignments rock the ruling party. Already under siege from a rebel faction allied to ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The wars of the governing United Democratic Alliance are set to worsen, with top former royalties, including the Senate Majority Whip, joining the rebellion. The man tasked with whipping members to toe the line, has declared the party dead. This story is on page 7 of the daily newspaper. And of course, we are seeing some of these people who are rebelling from their party. The likes of Boni Khalwale, Senator Majority Whip. We have seen Gloria Oroba, the ousted senator. We have seen the likes of Mohamed Ali, that is Nyali MP, Dindi Nyoro, Kiharu MP, we were talking about him yesterday.
Yes.
Jane Kihara of Naivasha, the Naivasha MP we saw the other day. And then the likes of Joash Nyamoko from North Mugirago MP.
Okay.
Yes. So a lot is happening. Wasikia story hapo. So pia hakuna party yenye iko sawa.
Hakuna party iko sawa. Hakuna party iko sawa. Hata hiyo UDA tunajua wako hivyo venye wako hivyo because of the some of the and let me tell you. And I told you 2027 you're going to see Honorable Raila Odinga shaping the politics of UDA.
Honorable
Raila Odinga. Atameza UDA yote.
Shaping
The reason unajua hakunanga mali rao ingia vitu zinakosa kuenda segmnege.
Sema tu quotes.
No, I'm being honest about this. Why? Look at what happened.
It's usually intentional when he gets when he comes to shake hands with you. It's so intentional. Yes.
Look at what happened post election of 0708. When Kalonzo joined government as vice president, Raila immediately joined as prime minister. Kweli urongo? And that is when, because literally Kalonzo would have become the second highest ranking person in that particular in the country actually, and in the lineup. But what happened after Raila became prime minister? Stories za nusu mkate zikatokezea. Okay? Sasa nusu mkate itakuwa yet we have three principles. Kuna president, kuna vice president. Kama kuna mkate inafaa kuwa nusu ni ya president na ya vice president. Lakini Rawa kaingei mkate ilibidi dividiwa mara ngapi? Mara 3. Lakini ali insist lazima ikue mkate nusu.
Sema mara 2 alafu watatu wakafanya atiwa kidogo kidogo.
And if we're being honest about it, Kalonzo lost out.
Yes. True.
Yes. Okay? Now, fast forward to Uhuru's time. What happened in that particular situation? BBI kaingia, and that is when we remember for the first Kenyans wanakumbuka vizuri sana for the first time drama za President Uhuru na DP Ruto zilitokezea huwa wakati. The moment kulikuwa na handshake.
Handshake, yes.
Yes. So wakati wa Moi venye Rao aliingia katika KANU, what happened? He became a minister. You remember he was a minister for roads at one point.
Yes.
And he was literally the most significant voice in government. And that is when George Saitoti lost his seat as vice president of Kenya. Naambianga hizi vitu mnadhani ni jokes.
So anyway. There's sawa. Well, still on the daily newspaper, there's this story about NTSA. So an audit says that NTSA has no control over own portal. Auditor Generals said that findings on the Transport Integrated Management System, the TIMS, expose possible data breaches. That is on page 18. By there you can just get there and read the whole story. Again, there is also a story about this one guy who has been freed at last. This is what the story says. On death row in Saudi Arabia for over a decade, dreading a day with executioner every day. The nightmare for Stephen Muyako finally ended yesterday when he was freed after dramatic negotiations with the family of a Yemen citizen whose death following there's a feud that happened.
Yes.
Led to his conviction. It took 150 million shillings blood money for his life to be spared.
Yeah,
14 years he was imprisoned. Of course, wanasema kulikuwa na some conflict between that citizen. Wakapigana. And finally the guy lost his life.
Yes.
So this is a Kenyan who was allegedly arrested for that death.
Yes.
And of course I remember Kenyans walichanga pesa. Do you remember?
Yeah, Kenyans always come through.
Yeah, Kenyans walichanga pesa, and finally of course the government had to intervene.
Yeah.
Kusaidia, and finally he was freed yesterday.
All right.
Yeah, and that is quite a good news to us Kenyans. Mungala, kabla tuendelee, there is a story here on Taifa Leo. Kuhusu Gachagua awekewa mitego. Gachagua awekewa, kumbuka jana ni juzi alikuwa anasema kwamba if any case, wakati watu walisema kwamba opposition wameamua.
Ndio.
You remember kulikuwa na some rumors hapa na pale about the opposition team having decided who will be the flag bearer.
Yes.
And then he came out and said there's nothing like that. We did not agree on anything. And in any case, alijieka kwamba he should be the most preferred candidate for the opposition.
Yeah,
that coalition.
He did say that.
Yes.
And he said that the opposition has not yet decided on who will be the flag bearer. But also, not Japheth Kome, but CJ Kome, Martha Kome, amekuja amesema, if you're impeached, you remain impeached. Even if you have a court case ongoing, you remain impeached.
You cannot vie for a seat.
So I don't know what she meant by that.
Well, again,
but
yesterday,
she meant that we kaanga ukijua
awezi
wacha kuinterpret, na alikuwa anasema generally to Kenyans, but we know who she was addressing. Now? We know who she was addressing. So amesema you remain what? Impeached. Na amesema Kenyans, stop interpreting the law for your own benefit. Let the courts tell you what the law says.
So again, you know, wacha nikwambie kitu. Courts zetu pia tumeona what has been happening in our courts. Sometimes this law yetu, by the way, most of the time people interpret it differently, and again according to the situation and according to maybe former judgments before. Yesterday we had Mr. Oswago here, and there's something that he said about the issue of impeachment. So tulimuuliza hapa kuhusiana na impeachment while there was no IEBC in place. Was it illegal? You know, he did not answer us. But
no, he gave us an answer. It's just not the answer we were looking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not give us the answer that we were looking for.
But he answered us nonetheless.
Yes. So, we are yet to, I know history ya Gachagua by the way still itakuwa na mambo mengi, but this is what the story says. Kwa Kiswahili inasema serikali imebuni mikakati dhabiti ya kumzima Gachagua, kama vile kutumia wafuasi wake kumtatiza mlimani, kutumia baadhi ya wafuasi wa Jubilee kummaliza nguvu, makanisa kubagua wanasiasa wa upinzani, na mahakama kuwatatiza wandani wa naibu huyo wa rais wa zamani, katika ukurasa wa pili wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Besikia? Okay, these are things zenye tumekuwa tukiona zikiendelea by the way. Still on that newspaper, SHA yatesa wagonjwa wa saratani, kwamba fedha zilizokuwa zimetengwa pale waathiriwa wa maradhi ya hiyo ya hayo hatari ni tone la maji baharini. The allocation for cancer treatment, cancer management, unasikia ni minimal. Ni kama tone la maji kwenye bahari. It doesn't make any sense. By the way, it's quite important. I don't know. I don't understand why is it that we are not giving health that priority that it deserves, and especially such magonjwa kama haya. These are challenges to the normal mwananchi, and of course right now tunaona it is on the increase. Yeah. So treatment ya vitu kama cancer, it should be given that priority, because we've been losing lives, a lot of them. Because they cannot afford. The costs are too high. Mtu mwenyewe kupata a meal, 3 meals in a day ni problem. Imagine they are being forced now kuanza kutafuta fundraising to take them to India for treatment. So I think we just need to rethink about this whole issue of health. It's quite important.
It has been said here and it will be said again. If we do not rather prioritize these issues to do with health, then it doesn't matter what we are doing any other way, or rather in other areas of development. Because a healthy nation is the one that goes to use those resources that you're looking for.
Si kupewa chochote.
Sasa kama tuko na njaa na sisi ni wagonjwa, bana, hiyo hata hiyo pesa unatutafutia haitusaidii. Barabara mnatujengea haitusaidii. Shule mnajenga hazitusaidii.
Si kupewa chochote na uhuru. Raila asema. Kiongozi wa ODM akanusha kunufaika kibinafsi kutokana na handshake ya 2018. Nimu nasema kwamba amefaidika. Nasema kwamba si kupewa chochote.
Naam.
Si kufaidika kibinafsi kutokana na 2018. And again, tuliona wafuasi wake wakija hapa wanasema kwamba hizi handshakes by the way, they have been saving the country a lot.
How so?
In terms of peace.
You know, I want to say something about that, but I have a feeling that someone might take it the wrong way, or people might take it the wrong way. But there's no way you can say that when you handshake with someone you've brought peace, yet chances are that you are the same person who brought the chaos. So
debatable.
Let's just get into the news. Iwata tu tuingie kwa news, tuache tu story mingi.
This is Radio Generation.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine from the up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen on Tuesday presided over the official reopening of the newly upgraded Fichua kwa DCI Center at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters along Kiambu Road, Nairobi. The revamped center is expected to play a central role in strengthening public participation in crime prevention. The platform is set to offer a safe, confidential, and accessible way for members of public to report criminal activities. CS Murkomen emphasized the importance of public trust and citizen involvement in the country's internal security framework.
The Fichua kwa DCI has provided an anonymous platform through which the public, both locally and internationally, can share crucial intelligence on crime. This has helped a great deal in combating crime and improving public safety. With the upgrade of the system, the center is now equipped to respond to the evolving needs of our users. In addition to the toll-free hotline, members of the public can now share information securely via WhatsApp, making the service more accessible and convenient.
Meanwhile, the DCI has launched a WhatsApp number 0709-570-000 to enhance the public's ability to share crime-related information anonymously and securely. In addition to its existing toll-free hotline, the DCI says the upgraded system will allow both local and international users to transmit intelligence directly and discreetly to investigators. Here's DCI boss Mohammed Amin.
Since its inception, the Fichua kwa DCI Center has provided an anonymous and secure channel through which the public, both locally and internationally, can share intelligence on crime via our toll-free number 0800-722-203. With the upgraded system, sir, we are proud to announce that the public can now share information confidentially through WhatsApp at 0709-570-000.
A family from Kiandutu slums in Thika is demanding justice after their king, Patrick Kinyanjui, sustained severe burns while under detention at Thika Level 5 Hospital. Kinyanjui had been admitted to the hospital a month ago with stomach complications and later underwent successful surgery. However, he was allegedly held at the facility because he couldn't clear his medical bill. Kinyanjui reportedly attempted to escape by climbing a fence when a hospital cleaner allegedly apprehended him. A staff member at the hospital is accused of pouring an acidic substance on his body, causing severe burns from his neck down to his waist.
Sasa tunaweza taka sheria ichukuliwe juu mtu kuchomewa kwa hospitali na kuwa amekuja na hiyo ugonjwa ya kuchomwa.
Kuchomeka kwake kulipatikanaje? Na ni nani alimchoma? Hiyo ndicho kitu ambacho tunataka kujua.
Amesomwa sana amesomewa hapa kutoka hapa Johero kupanda hivi, amesomwa mpaka hapa, lakini uso tu ndio hajasomwa.
Inasemekana aliweza kushomwa na kitu yenye haijatambulika mpaka saa hii akiwa katika hiyo hospitali. Uchunguzi umeanza mara moja.
Health CS Eden Dwale is urging Kenyans who have registered with SHA to ensure timely remittance of their contributions. He says this will guarantee timely healthcare services provided. The CS says that payment of SHA contributions is not just a duty but the only way to ensure that funds will be available whenever Kenyans need medical attention. Dwale adds that through the Primary Healthcare Fund, 4.5 million Kenyans have already received treatment for chronic illnesses and maternal care.
With over 8,000 patients on dialysis sessions and 18,000 on cancer treatment. Maternal health alone has covered more than 550,000 deliveries since October. To protect public funds, SHA continues to strengthen its claim processing and verification within the system. So far, 6.8 billion have been paid under the primary health care claims.
The World Health Organization says Israeli offensive in central Gaza has compromised its efforts to continue working after its facilities came under attack. The UN agency accused Israeli forces of attacking a staff residence in the city of Deir al-Balah on Monday and mistreated those sheltering there. Its main warehouse was also attacked and destroyed. The WHO said one of its staff detained by troops during the raid on the residence was still being held and demanded their immediate release. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor!
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Yes, indeed. This is the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, Malindi 92.1, Lamu, of course, it's 92.6, and Garissa 89.5. This is where we shall be telling you some of the things that are happening behind the scenes that you do not know of. For example, I've just found out something here that is kind of making me angry. But you know what? We've got to calm down and just have this conversation because it needs to be held, right?
Sure.
Anyway, I'm in studio with Patricia Wayo, but also in studio with us is Nerima Wako. She's the executive director of Siasa Place. Very good morning to you and welcome to Radio Generation.
Good morning, and
Yes.
thanks for having me.
Karibu tena sana. We were just talking and you were telling me Siasa Place right now things are very hectic, and one of the things that you've pointed out is the fact that you are helping individuals who were arrested in the recent protests.
Yes.
And maybe you can just give us an overview of how that is going.
Sure. So after the protests of 25th and Sabasaba, a lot of young people were picked up. All over the country, by the way. But what we're witnessing is a lot of the cases are now being linked or charged to terrorism. And this is a concern because we're talking about some of them have even been as young as 17 years old. We had a few 17-year-olds in committee. And now the case I was talking to you earlier was about Matu. There are some young people who were arrested in Matu. They were actually 16. And so yesterday...
16 individuals?
Yes, 16 individuals.
Right.
So yesterday we finally, get their bail and they were to be released, and then 6 of them were rearrested and then now taken to Kahawa. So Kahawa deals with terrorism only. It's a special court.
Close to the barracks or why?
Yes,
That's the reason why.
Let me tell you, I went to that court and it is surrounded by, you don't even feel like you're in Kenya, you just feel like you're in another country, and they're with, weapons and all. So you just feel like you're in a different court. So that's where they deal with all those charges in relation to terrorism. But to charge someone with, even to accuse someone with terrorism, you have to have serious evidence. You know, in that court in particular, it was formed in 2012 because of Somalia and Al-Shabaab. So there are only 11 people who have been charged under that court under terrorism.
Ever since it was constituted.
Yeah. So now when you're seeing, now we are seeing up to even 40 youth.
It's the same place Boniface was taken, right?
Yes, and then remember, they ended up dropping the terrorism charges and then now charging him with other things, but his bail was, bond is at 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
So we're talking about also families where, I mean, the kids, they come from single households. Some of them have not talked to their parents for a long time. So you have to support. So when you have a bill as high as 30,000, 50,000, 200,000, 300,000, some of them are crying because they're like, I'm stuck here forever.
Because our family will never raise this money.
Our family can never raise this money. So we've been, you know, we formed a network. It's a collective of up to 25 individuals. And we are just basically crowdsourcing. So we've been sharing posters. Kenyans have been so generous. We've reached about 1.3 million.
Okay.
And we've already used 900k to remove about 74. Yeah.
Let me ask you, in terms of just identifying that these individuals have been arrested because of protests, like Matu is so far from Nairobi. Yeah, well, not so far, but I mean it's quite far. How did you even know that kuna watu Matu wameshikwa because of maandamano? Because all over the country a lot of people were arrested. Kitengela, Nairobi, Thika, and so on and so forth.
Actually, it's been a lot of online people just sharing videos of guys in cells and saying they've been arrested, family members. I got a DM from someone called Palma. His brother was arrested in Naivasha with 20 others who were now released the day before yesterday. I think that's Monday. And so 11 came out. So we're just getting DMs, family members, even people just highlighting the issues online, reaching out to lawyers, finding out that there are even some women in Langata Women's who have 300,000 like bond.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a lawyer. So we're like, how did it even get this far? And you don't even have a lawyer.
For you to be given bond yet,
Yeah.
no one has argued your case for you.
No one.
Yeah.
So you were getting a lot of those cases coming in. They are still trickling in. And so the collective, we have activists, we have lawyers, we have organizations, and we're just sort of chiming it into our database.
I don't know if you've attended any of the court cases, but what evidence do they have against these young people? Especially, let's deal with the ones in Matu. What evidence do they have of them to label them as terrorists? You said 6 were re-arrested immediately after they were released. So how do they know Mungala Mbuvi, for instance, is fit to be charged with terrorism?
So now the 6 who were rearrested is yesterday. So now we have to wait for the actual hearing to know the evidence that they have. But what we've seen so far, barely any evidence. In fact, some of them have been kept for up to 2 weeks. And they keep saying, we're looking for the evidence. Give us more time for the evidence. At some point...
And the court is granted in this time?
The court refused now for the ones who were released under, remember the case of the DCP youth? There were 38 of them.
Yes.
The court now refused. They were like, you keep asking for room for evidence. Kama
hamuna bana.
Yeah, so we just allow them to go home and this case continues and, assign them to a family member to hold them responsible so that when the next hearing comes, they show up. Yeah. So we haven't seen any... evidence that we can say, yes, this is, related to terrorism, because you have to be linked to like a Al-Shabaab group. It has to, on your phone, you're organizing to show that, you're coming to destroy property and human life. So that's not there.
Does this new approach by the government of terming these protesters as terrorists, does it discourage you from really pushing for whatever you've been pushing for?
No, I think, in the beginning we were deflated, especially because we thought it was in the 40s, and then we're getting more cases. We're like, oh my goodness, we're reaching hundreds. And we were like...
And by this you mean like hundreds of individuals who are facing these charges?
Yes.
Okay.
And so now we're beginning to see some of them are now being dropped. So for us, it's encouraging that the public uproar and then us highlighting the situation has made things, I mean, not better, but it has reduced. You know, I think yesterday was deflating for us because we had seen them dropping terrorism charges, and then to see these 6 rearrested, which are 5 male, 1 female, which is also another statistic we need to share. Most of them are young men. And also, mind you, once you go through Kahawa, some of them are being sent to committee, and so some of them are
for their remand.
And some of them are as young as, I've just told you, like 18, 19, and then you're mixing with people in
murderers,
committee.
rapists.
So when we see the situation, we're like, no. If we are discouraged and deflated, imagine them who just feel like they are helpless in this situation. Because I remember I went for one hearing, and you're just seeing, you know, the judge is reading all, like, pages of things, and you're just seeing them looking dazed. You know, like they have just been removed from their lives. Like they can't understand how this is my life.
They're present physically, but spiritually they're not.
They're gone. Like there's one guy alikuwa amezuba, alikuwa amelalia like bars. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, these guys don't even understand what's happening.
Yes.
In their lives.
Let me ask you, have you had a conversation with any of them and just asked them on the day that they joined first of all, were they actively in the protests?
No.
Or they were just picked up from the streets, from their homes? Do you know, like when they tell you mimi nilichukuliwa kwa nyumba ama nilichukuliwa kwa streets?
Very diverse stories. There's one young lady I talked to, she said she was walking from the supermarket, and she was picked up because anakaa Gen Z. Like someone says, "Wewe unakaa Gen Z? Kuja." That's how she was picked. She wasn't even understanding, like.
So she didn't have a placard. She didn't have a flag.
No. This is after. Guys have been picked after the protest, not even during
the
This is after, and then they are saying like they are linked to the protests, or they are linked to arson. There's a young lady who she's being charged with stealing 130 million worth of goods from Naivas
single-handedly.
Yeah, so you're
130
like,
million.
Gari alichukua hizo vitu aje, like, you know, you just, and you see, even though you see this girl, I mean, even when you see this girl, I'm like,
do you know, even if you were to pick the most expensive TV at a supermarket, even if you were to pick 10 of them, you still wouldn't amass 130
million is a lot.
130 million.
130. So I have a question, because I'm wondering, well, I'm doing it loudly because I'm like, we have seen the guys, the police accused of shooting some of these Gen Zs, like we saw, but then it has been so hard to get that evidence kwamba ni huyu polisi ndio alishoot mtu. Umeona venye imekuwa ni it is a hard nut to crack for us to be able to establish, to provide evidence kwamba huyu polisi ndio alishoot. And actually you saw the other day this police officer accused of shooting Rex Masai. Sometimes
he said he's not the one.
Actually, even after producing the evidence, he said that I am not the one. So now I want to understand, like, when these the Gen Zs are being taken to the court, what evidence are they producing? Like ile mpaka kabisa you can attribute this to this Gen Z.
So one of the things that we have seen over time, they have been very keen to blame young people for the chaos. So they'll first blame the activists. So remember this, the Muthaiga 3. There are 3 activists. Actually, their hearing is today in Kibera Law Courts this morning.
Yeah.
And so they were also being blamed or charged, not with terrorism, but with organizing the protests and then the arson, the stealing, the chaos. So you're seeing that what they're trying to do is shift the blame, because people started to share videos of this Muthaiga 3 in the protest, yes, but peaceful. They're like, yeah, but I was with Generali, I was with Garang, and here are the pictures, here's the evidence. So even citizens are using their own mobile devices to show that that's not true. They were not involved in the chaos. What we're seeing is some of the evidence they're saying is they can track their devices to show that they are within the vicinity.
Oh, okay.
But they are not showing them actually evidence of them causing chaos.
Okay.
They don't have that, and so they're saying no, they were there, so they caused it. Which well, like, but they were goons, and some of them ended up coming after we left or chasing us from the scene. So the evidence is not strong. Just because your phone shows that you are near the supermarket and that supermarket ended up burning down, it doesn't prove that you're the one who burnt that supermarket.
And actually, some other people just come after to come and see what happened here.
Yeah.
You see?
So that's the evidence they're using, which is not strong evidence at all. And a lot of the lawyers are like, these things are going to be dropped anyway.
Yeah.
But imagine the time you have wasted. You know, we've had people in cells for 36 days, you know, and then we know it's going to be dropped. But what have you done to that person's life? People have lost their jobs for those who are working, and even people who were, you know, family members or in school. People were leaving school, some are in Form 4, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they're here in cells. How do you even explain yourself?
Someone is waiting to sit for their KCSE this year.
I mean, we
And
are
then
having
custody.
school children. So you're just like, now you have tainted an image of this person. So even when they go back to school, it's like, no, this one alikuwa kwa cells. Huyu ni mtu mbaya.
Are you following up on any cases of police brutality or deaths, for that matter, where people have been killed or maimed or hurt by the police?
I'm not, but I know that there are organizations that are, like IMLU. I know that there are private entities that are working on cases to sue, but we are not. We're just focusing on getting these young people out.
Yeah.
Well, looking at what is happening, actually some critics were saying that the government is using that approach, of course, to discourage this movement of the young people. And but the question is, right now as we speak, because you have sat down, the young people have sat down and seen what has been happening. Is it that they are going to change their strategy, ama bado watu wanataka kurudi kwa maandamano?
Bado watu wanataka kurudi kwa maandamano, but I think even right now they've changed their strategy. A lot of young people are talking about recall. The fact that we've seen 4, but it's unfortunate that in the news now IBC is like, oh, but we're not so sure if we'll be able to do recall. IBC needs to focus on making recall possible for young people to participate, because you're telling them, use the systems, use the process, then you're telling them, but it might not work. So what are you going to tell,
we actually sat with a lawyer here, I think, and one thing he pointed out was that the process is there in the constitution, but it's a very tedious one, because number one, you as the person who wants to recall your MP, you have to gather, I think, did he say 20% or 50% of the votes? I think he mentioned 50% of the votes of the registered voters in your constituency. So if I want to recall my MP, I go back to my constituency and find 50% of our voters. So let's say in our constituency we had like 50,000 voters, so I have to look for 25,000 people who are willing to recall this MP, and they have got to be registered, because IEBC will go and confirm that these 25,000 individuals are registered members of that constituency. Then once now they have confirmed that, I think he said it's going to go to court, and we look at the, what are they called, the reasons as to why we are recalling him, and the reasons have got to be within the responsibilities that the MP is supposed to, whatever, according to his responsibility. So if he hasn't done any of those, and especially things to do with integrity issues, so if he's a corrupt MP, then now we need to convince the court that indeed this guy is corrupt, so that now IEBC can declare that position vacant. I don't know, I think I've captured it correctly, and that is what is making it very difficult. Mimi nitaenda nianze kutafuta watu 25,000.
That's what I'm telling you, because you know they're here shouting and saying, you know, don't go to the streets, use process, and then people will start to use process, which we're seeing, and we're going to witness them getting frustrated with process. I mean, logically, what's going to happen? They're going to end up back on the streets. That's what's going to happen. So I mean, that is the only option that they're going to feel that they're being heard. So I'm not going to be surprised if people return to the streets.
Now, apart from, because we've also seen them saying they're gonna visit the MPs in their homes, have dinner with them, I don't know, does that sound like a viable solution to the current problem we are facing? Because number one, I don't even know where my MP lives.
A lot of people do though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming I want to visit my MP today. I don't know where he lives, but assuming I find out where he lives, and I take a bunch of my boys, I don't know how many of us would be willing to go and face the GSU officers outside his gate, because I also don't want to die.
Yeah.
Then assuming for some strange reason GSU watufungulie mlango tuingie pale ndani, then what next?
I think the simplest method is to deplatform them at church.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. That's where politicians feel they have lost their power, because they use funeral services, harambes, church
Weddings.
services, weddings, to go and speak to the public. The other platforms they do that is public rallies. And I say deplatform the church because all of us are members of a church, or if you want to be a religious institution, you have youth leaders, you have women leaders. Organize with your church and just say, by the way, we're not having politicians coming to address us.
Hatutaki.
Lakini
sasa
kanisa hatutaki.
Bishop wako akinunuliwa Prado Land Cruiser ya sijui ilikuwa ni 10 million. How do you expect your bishop to say no to 10M?
But
120 million, 20 million.
If then I leave that church, yeah, that means I don't have the same vision as my bishop. So where is he leading me? I leave that church. Even the bishops are afraid of being deplatformed.
Yeah.
It's very simple. So if you go to that church and you see them receiving, that means you agree with it. That's fine with you. Remain in that church. But if you have a problem with it, leave that church and find another church where the bishop will refuse.
Yeah.
It's not all bishops who are going to accept, by the way. There are quite a number of bishops who have deplatformed politicians. Join those churches. Hakuna shida, kuna mingi hapa Kenya. Yeah.
Well, I just want to understand the long-term effect of whatever the young people are doing, and especially, okay, we are good on social media. We the young people who are so successful in mobilizing protest through social media and so forth. But I want to look at it like that power that the Gen Zs have. Can they be able to divert it, and especially in other aspects like public participations, because at the end of the day tunaona maandamano kidogo inaenda kuwa ni challenge. Now we are looking at other options like you are needed to participate somewhere. We need your opinion in shaping some of these decisions that our leaders are making. So my question is, I don't know whether the young people have thought of that.
They are organizing themselves. The fact that we have a united opposition shows you that people are still grappling for power. The fact that Raila will have a whole interview and talk about a conclave is still trying to convince the public why a conclave is important. So what we are witnessing is there's a vacuum of power, and the political elite know this. And that vacuum of power still belongs to the Gen Zs. Even though you call them leaderless, they're still the ones holding the power, and they're trying to figure out, how do we channel this power back to us? How do we bring it back to us? So politically, there is a shift. Politically, and as someone who's passionate about politics, we would not be watching Sifuna on primetime TV trying to convince people as ODM how it still has strength and power. So one thing we must understand is Raila Odinga has shook hands with every president, and it has worked. It has not worked. He's still struggling with how can I make sure things are okay. This is a shift of power. That's one. Number two, it's for us to realize that the existing political parties are going to struggle with convincing young people to join them. That's why ODM launched Captains. They had to have a younger youth league, because how are they talking about young people's engagement when their youth leader honestly should be in retirement, or someone who should be raising their grandchildren? Let's be honest. So Captains is already a sign that Gen Z is working. So it might not be how we are used to seeing it, which I think is fantastic. It's fantastic, because if young people show up how the political elite are used to seeing power showing up, the first thing they will do is capture. Because those young people don't have the resource. They will try and buy out leaders as quickly as possible. So remaining amorphous is the most powerful tool young people can do right now.
on that point of being amorphous, there was an article in one of the dailies, I think it was last week, where the writer said that the young people are currently, they don't have an agenda. Yes, they're saying that there's no clear agenda. That is what the writer said. There's no clear agenda. Because yes, we are talking about economic empowerment. We're talking about unemployment. We're talking about police brutality. We're talking about so many things that, you know, people are shouting in the streets and on social media. But he said there is no clear agenda towards a future that is tenable for everyone. So it's good to be amorphous, and I believe that this whole issue of being partyless is an awesome idea. This idea of being tribeless, even better. But in terms of leaderless, there might be an issue, because at the end of the day, fine, we do not have like a specific leader. It's not Nerima, you know, it's not Patricia, it's not moving. But at the end of the day, do we even have leaders amongst ourselves that we can even front to become
so many
MCAs, MPs,
so
and
many
so on?
movie so many.
Yeah.
And even guys, think about it. Last year protests were in like 4 counties. This year they're in 25. Who is leading them? Leaders have actually mushroomed in the 25. And I'll tell you for fact, they are groups that have formed. They are. And they will come up with their own parties. This week alone, I've heard of 3 parties receiving their certificates.
Oh,
yes.
For the Gen Zs.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. It's just not out there. It's here.
It's not pump and color like DCP.
And it will. And it will pop up. It will. And the thing that I didn't read that article. I don't know who this writer is.
Yep.
The one voice that is very clear amongst all youth is justice. It's justice.
Justice, yeah.
It's justice. So even when we think about how they behave, attending funerals of those who have been killed unjustly, this is very different from previous generations. Fundraising for families, fundraising for hospital bills. This is dignity. This is a different generation. They have a different way of thinking. I mean, last year, 2023 even, people were shot. People died. ODM can't even remember to name them. ODM can't remember their families. ODM can't remember where they live. They can't. Even government. They can't. But you ask Gen Zs the names of the people who died from June 25th. They know them. They recite them. In fact, they look up to them as their mashujas. This is justice. And they're like, we are not going to go into a Kenya where we bury you and forget you like they have done for generations. It's very, very different. The goal is clear. They want a new Kenya, a Kenya that speaks for all when it comes to access to education, employment, opportunity. It's justice. So we can't live in a Kenya where we are seeing MCAs grabbing property, peoples of houses of people, and acting like they can do whatever they want. That's not the Kenya young people want.
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't really have to exist and live in a party, because even these parties, all of them, they have the word democratic. What does DCP stand for? Democratic Citizens Party. What does ODM stand for?
Orange Democratic
Movement. All of them have the word democratic, but there's nothing democratic about their parties. Nothing. If you have a very influential young person in that party, they will never be voted in as a youth leader in a party primary. It depends who the party leader wants. So what is democratic about your party? So even for me, I challenge people who say form a party or be part of the parties, yet those parties don't stand for any ideology. They are vehicles. Makes no sense.
I want us to do the traffic for a minute, but when we return, of course, let's talk about the political elite for a second,
Traffic.
So this is what is happening on the roads of Nairobi. I'm looking at sehemu za wapi hapa. Yes, Muthaiga area. If you're coming from Roysambu driving into Nairobi, I can assure you, once you get to KCA University, you're not moving. But after Muthaiga Square, after Mathare National Hospital, kidogo mtafunguliwa na muweze kuelekea town vizuri. If you're heading into the CBD, well, no problems on that road. Limuru Road, there's a lot of traffic at this particular hour. Gem Forest, kutoka hapo Hotel Collection, kuna traffic mingi tena sana, heading past Karura Forest onto Muthaiga as well, but after that, strangely enough, the traffic opens up. So I wonder what is happening there. We are looking at where is this? Mombasa Road, looking very clean right now. Coming from town and going into town, zote zinakaa ziko sawa sawa, so nothing to complain about. The usual traffic at Cabanas doesn't exist at this particular minute. However, a little bit of traffic at where is this? As you're approaching the CBD at Bunyala roundabout, kuna traffic kidogo. Pia pale Nyayo roundabout kuna traffic kidogo, but that's expected as the roads converge there. But otherwise, everything else is looking fantastic. Oh wait, there's a situation here at Uhuru Gardens. This is on Langata Road. So if you're coming from Bomas, kuna some pockets of traffic here and there, but you're moving nonetheless.
Just like Gong Road, just near City Mortuary. And kutoka City Mortuary actually kuingia town, there is a little of a snarl up, but it is moving. Pia ukisonga ukirudi upande wa junction also there is a little traffic there. Langata Road uko umetaja pale hivi ukienda kutokea Nyayo Stadium, that is where we are seeing a little bit of traffic as you join Nyayo Stadium. Jogoo Road, of course I told you that there is some renovation that is taking place, and therefore expect that between Donholm and City Stadium, places where we do not see a lot of traffic right now, we have traffic. And also from City Stadium to town through that road there is a lot of traffic there. Again upande wa kutoka Isili, actually Isili barabara inapita Isili pale katikati, by the way kuna traffic. And again as you come to join a town through Kariakor roundabout there is also traffic. Which is the road is this? You've talked of Waiyaki Way. Yeah, around ukifika pale Kagemi, that is where we are seeing a little traffic. By the way, Mombasa pia things are not good. That is around lights Kengeleni. That is where we are seeing a little bit of traffic. And of course in Masaya traffic, you expect that. So that is the update about Mombasa.
25 minutes to the top of the hour. Anything on the roads you think we should know, please highlight a brother. Radio Gen KE is where we're at.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
So in studio, we are with Nerima Wakojiwa. She is the executive director at Siasa Place. And the conversation has taken a turn. We're now focusing on Gen Z and their leadership and basically where are these guys heading. And I was going to ask you about what we are seeing happening in government and what we are seeing happening in opposition. People are saying that we don't have an opposition anymore, but we do have an opposition, whether we like it or not, right? Now, because I was thinking the Gen Zs are actually more of the opposition than the real opposition. But we're seeing these arrangements happening in opposition. We are seeing Kalonzo teaming up with Akina Matiang'i, teaming up with Martha Karua and the rest. You know them. Kina Netembea pia wameingia pale. We're also seeing DCP leader in the states campaigning vehemently for his return. What do you think we are going to offer them as the rest of Kenya? Forget the political elite. That we're going to offer this, because at the end of the day, these guys look more organized than the Gen Zs. They look more organized than people who want to protest, and they are planning their return. They are planning how they're going to capture power. And you've rightly said that kila mtu anafikiria sasa venye atashikilia usukani. We are seeing Raila Odinga saying that he's going to support the president all the way till 2027. So where does that leave the rest of the country? Because clearly these guys are sorting themselves out, and I do not see any conversation about Kenya, the people of Kenya.
Yeah, no, it's true. But there's also another group. There's also CJ Maraga. There's also Kia Mtata.
True.
There are a few people who are actually vying for presidency, but they don't get as much media coverage as these traditional politicians that we're used to seeing. I feel that June 25th last year, people felt that it came suddenly, abruptly, and it confused the political elite. But people who work in the youth sector saw it coming. We've been seeing it coming for like the last 5 years. And it's something that we're predicting was going to happen. And the same way I will predict, there's going to be a Fagia Wote kind of sweep. So even as they are arranging themselves up top, they are going to need members of parliament.
Yes.
They are going to need members of county assembly. And they are going to be surprised at the number of people who are not going to be re-elected. There are youth who are like, that MP nimekumak. Hautarudi bunge tena. And this is also important to know. So as much as they are organizing up top, our politics has been driven by Rao comes and says, huyu ndo mtapigia kura. And people are like, yeah. They go. They don't even care who that person is. They don't know their background, And also, there's this council of elders that sometimes determines who the community is going to vote for. That is where the switch is going to be in the next election. People are going to be like, usituambie, sisi tumemshamchagua. This is powerful because you are talking about up top presidency level executive leadership, but where parliament sits is where power lies, because they are the voice of the people, representatives, MCAs, the same. That's going to be controlled by Gen Z.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at it when you say that you want this leader, the Gen Zs, to take leadership, and especially for these MP seats, MCAs, and so forth. And then I'm like, if they are operating with a political outfit yenye imekuwa mpaka sasa, do you think they are going to get that opportunity?
No, they are not. That's why even with the by-elections that are happening, I'm seeing a lot of youth coming out and saying they are going to stand independent or in smaller parties, which is fascinating to me. I think watching the by-elections when they occur is going to be a huge determinant of how 2027 or future elections are going to happen. These traditional parties are going to be surprised at how quickly they have lost their influence at the grassroots. It's going to be determined by by-elections.
By the by-elections.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah. We sat here with a Kano youth leader. He's called Meshak Kiprop, I think. And Meshak is a Gen Z. And Meshak said, because we asked him about the atrocities that were committed by his party before he was born. And he owned them and he said, look, ilifanyika, but sasa, kenya tunafanya sasa ni kusafisha. And he brought up this idea where he said that he's hoping there's a movement that will have Gen Zs join parties, whether it's KANU, DCP, UDA, ODM, whatever. And they actually vie for positions within those parties and then now take up national positions. So whether it's MP, MCA, governor, whatever. Do you think that's also a plausible solution whereby we literally get into this? Because if I'm a diehard fan of Wiper or a diehard fan of ODM and I don't want to see it go down, fine, I might have an independent way of thinking, but I might also get that thinking into my party and get rid of all these people I think are bringing my party down. Then change it from the inside and still bring the change that we're looking for as young people.
You know, I think whatever method works for you, use it. We are entering a dispensation where leaders will not have to necessarily listen to their party leader. They are going to have to listen to the people first. The people who are not being harassed in their communities are the ones who listened to the people when they said vote no for the finance bill. Those are the ones who can go to services in peace. Those are the ones who can speak in peace. The rest are finding it very, very hard, even now, to be able to commune with their community, because they always say, lakini wewe ulipigia no kwa hiyo finance bill. I mean, people have still remembered it. So the reason why I'm mentioning that, you don't need so many even members of parliament. 7 bearded sisters. It just took 7 people to decide this is the direction Kenya is going, and that's the direction Kenya went. If you can even have 10 members of parliament who have the same goal, it doesn't even matter which party you belong to, then you're able to bring about change within parliament. Right now, all of them are captured. All of them are captured by the executive. And that's why it's even hard to see people who have a backbone speaking sense and truth within parliament. Where we're seeing it, sometimes semblance of it is Senate. Yeah, but within parliament we're not. So in a sense, I agree with Meshak.
Right.
And the difference is the people who enter through traditional parties or old legacy parties this time around will have more influence. I just told you, the party won't be able to say chagua huyu. It'll be the public. Tumekuambia tunataka huyu mpatie ticket. That's what's going to be different with the next election.
Yeah.
So their power will come from the people, not necessarily the party leader. That changes things.
You know, I'm looking at the revolution that happened actually when our forefathers were fighting for freedom, independence in our country, the likes of Dead and Kimathi. I was looking at a documentary on how they used to gather Yes, they used to gather in different places to get everyone involved. So I was looking at the maandamano zenye zimekuwa zikifanyika. They have been happening majorly on big towns, big places. So I'm looking at that population that is in the rural areas. What responsibility in terms of civic education do you think the Gen Zs have also to those other population?
You know, actually, Gen Zs are concerned about IDs and uptake. There's been a huge campaign in Busia that we've been part of, where they are actually registering to get their IDs, and next they want to register to be able to vote. And this is important to mention because remember, over the weekend, there's someone who went to a funeral in Busia to make a contribution that came from Baba, and people told her to shut up. People told her to keep quiet.
Yeah.
That is civic education. Yeah. Where
She
she's
was properly booed.
She was properly booed. That is civic education. Where people are like, it's no longer about the individual. Representation matters, and the right representation matters. And we have been following particular people, and we've not seen development and progress. It has changed in rural areas, Patricia. Let me tell you that for free. And it's fascinating because people are like, I think by the time 2027 rolls around, maybe they'll change again. And I think that's what the political elite is banking on, where they are so used to using the narrative of tribe, they don't know any different. So even when you look at the united opposition, I mean, let's be frank, it's tribes. They're just making sure this tribe is here, this tribe. They're just looking at the big five. But Kenyan youth are beyond that. Them, they're like, I don't care who sits there, as long as this is trickling down as development to me. And that's why we're going to see a clash of ideologies. It is a clash. Because even when you talk about rural areas and them, they're going to be paid and they are going to change their vote, we're also witnessing an exchange where even the youth in urban areas are going to their villages to talk to the youth in rural areas.
I want us to talk about compromise for a second. We had so much hope in a lot of our current leaders, and unfortunately when they got to parliament, some of them when they got to county assemblies, some of them when it became, governors and senators and whatever, for some strange reason, they just stand against the people. We have seen MPs in parliament that, used to be against, I don't want to say against Gava, but they used to speak up against some of the things that government was doing to Kenyans at the time, saying that what we are seeing on the streets is Photoshop. Yeah. And this is someone who was, doing political satire back in the day, and we enjoyed watching these particular characters, and we loved what they used to do because they used to challenge Gava at that particular time, and even when Gava was really strong through President Moi. What assurances do we have that if Gen Zs will be elected into positions, whether it's MCA all the way even to governor, that they will not be compromised? Because let's not forget, pia sisi tunawanga very impatient na watu. I'll point out Morara Kebaso. I don't know at what point people started hating him. Mpaka yeye mwenyewe quit politics. Kasema amequit after watu walimchangia mapesa mingi sana, mamilioni. We have Kasmuel, of course. People for some strange reason again hated him when he joined ODM. How sure are we if we vote in young leaders, these so-called Gen Zs, they won't get into bed with government the moment they taste that power?
Buvi, the simplest answer to that would be, what is the person's track record? We have a president who has only done politics all of his life. So what we're witnessing is politics. He's never run a company. He's never owned an organization.
Yeah, he used to sell chicken.
But
oh, guys, come on.
A company of
he sells cabbages.
You guys, me, I can sit and show you how I have grown something from this level to this level, and these are my impacts. This is my, this is what I have done personally. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is who owns this person you're talking about? Who owns them? Because we've talked about this. When you enter a party by buying the ticket at 10 million for some, who owns you? So as soon as you enter, you pledge allegiance to who owns you. So that's why I said this time is going to be different, because you're owned by the people.
Yeah.
The same way, when you look at how CJ is doing his campaign, how Okia is doing his campaign, when you have crowdsourcing, people giving you the resource, who owns you? It's the people. It's not backdoor meetings where billionaires are giving you 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion. Then as soon as you enter power, you pledge allegiance to the billionaire. So it's not about their business opportunities. That's who you will listen to. So for me, it's who owns the individual that you're voting for.
Yeah.
And are they part of your community? And have you seen the impact that they have brought to your community?
The reason I'm asking this is because we've had this famous phrase where people say that everyone has a price. So you might vote for me, independent candidate. Nimekuja hapa hivi with the people. Na nimeingia kwa hiyo kiti. Mimi ni MP wa George Padmo Ridge. Then you start seeing me having dinner at State House, breakfast State House. Mara I'm flying with the president to Mandera to do projects with him or launch things. At the end of the day, I feel like everyone again has a price. So personally, I'm putting my eggs in that particular basket, but not all of them. And I'd like us to test these guys in leadership, the young people that we are hoping will lead this country. Yeah. I don't know if you have similar sentiments. I'm aware umeka all your eggs into that basket,
It's
and you're
all
like
my eggs.
all of them.
All.
Yeah.
Because how can we give a generation 50 plus years? We've seen where we are. What's so wrong with giving another generation 5?
Okay.
They have stayed with 50. And then we expect them to all of a sudden save us. And they've stayed with 50. Why can't I risk it all and give someone new 5 years?
Okay.
Yeah, because
You
if
do-
they
you
screw
do-
it up, it was just 5. You
Yeah,
stayed with 50.
You do realize if you put all your eggs there and they break, you've lost every single egg you had.
Where are we now? Do you think, where are we now?
Okay, we don't have eggs. Okay.
So what are you telling me? What are you saving? What egg are you saving?
Yeah.
They are all broken.
Yeah.
So okay, just looking at the specifics in what the Gen Zs have been agitating for, and especially the issues of abduction, the issues of innocent lives being killed. If today the government decides imeacha easy abductions, imeacha hizo killings of innocent Kenyans, through of course they said they are going to reform their police force. You get. So if today they have decided that sisi tumefikia hapo na tumesema na we see these people who have been accused, alleged, and wameshtakiwa, wakipatikana na makosa, mtu amepewa ile dini yake, then tumebaki na issue ya cost of living. Tumebaki especially in the issue ya cost of living. Do you think Kenyans will give now the president time to continue? Like, easy tumeacha, tumebaki na stories za employment is not a one day thing. Like, you're not going to wake up in the morning and you like amesha create employment for everyone. Issues of cost of living, it is not a rocket science. Kuna dynamics that are involved there for you to be able to stabilize the economy. Do you think now the youth would give the president another chance if today hii moja ambaye ni issue kubwa sana imeacha?
I would say well done, about time. Should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Lakini sasa since umeacha, number 2, audits. CDF, housing, SHA, hold people accountable. Sasa tumeona kuna goodwill.
Yes.
As soon as you've done audits, who is responsible for that? Wachuje. Then now after that, when you've done those 3, people will relax. Because you can't say tumeacha and then money is still being lost and stolen, and things are still the same. We can't be seeing people going and donating millions in churches, and unemployment is high, and people's salary is increasing, and people have no opportunities to go and work. You know, we're talking about 60% unemployment of a generation where the country, the average age is 19. Yani, ukitembea hapa nje, kila mtu ukiona, most of them are 19. Let that sink in for you. Lakini wewe, in your office, most of you are 50 plus. Huwaoni. So for me, it would be, yes, stop with the arrests, stop with the abductions. But number 2, answer questions on audit and responsibility. Okia is always talking about public debt. Answer, all those sectors you like to mention, what is the audit? Then number 3, money has been lost, okay. What have you done to make sure you recover? And what have you done to make sure people are held accountable for that loss? Then number 4, people will relax. Because as soon as that happens, it shows goodwill. Because now you have to hire the right people. Because you're going to lose your team. You're going to lose majority of your team. Then you'll have to have the right people in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple.
Someone was mentioning deep state here. Jeremiah Kioni, SG Jubilee. And he said that being president of this country, and actually just the entire executive, you need to have a good understanding of the deep state, because if you don't have an understanding of that, the deep state might end up, you know, controlling you and so on and so forth. So if we appoint brand new people, and let's even say that we want to get rid of the old guards, tuache akina Maraga hapo hivyo na Okiya Mtata na wale wengine, I'm sure wengine watatokezea hapo hivyo. Who do you think has a proper understanding of the deep state?
You know,
if at all it exists.
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna say. I was gonna say the rumor or the impression that we have of the deep state is that they are Kenyan citizens. The foreign influence that other countries have on Kenya, and the presidents we have had, because foreign countries have said this is the best president for you.
They said what?
Oh yeah, that, you know, we talk about deep state like they are only Kenyan. They are not. Yeah. And I don't think that it's something that is difficult to understand. Anyone who understands geopolitics understands that the deep state also includes foreign missions, ministries and governments. Yeah. And so it's not something that, oh, this generation can never learn, they'll never get it. No. Okay. It's not, because we are even watching it in West Africa itself, in terms of the changeover of power from people who've been in power for decades with young people who have entered power. Their countries, are they not still standing? They are still standing. So I feel like sometimes deep state is used as a way to instill fear and intimidation, because at the end of the day, even the public is the deep state.
Yeah.
If the Kenyan people have refused you,
Nivyo. The deep state has said no.
You know, initially the Gen Zs, the young people, actually we saw the last election, majority did not vote. Election ya huko nyuma kabisa tena, sasa ndio pale a bigger percentage of the young people did not vote. One of the biggest reasons they were citing was the fact that they do not have trust, they do not believe in the IEBC. Juzi tumeona commission imekuwa formed. Has the perception of the young people changed about to trust, to believe in the IEBC for delivering free, fair and credible elections? So
that's a good question, Patricia, because vile naona, if they fumble the by-elections, then that trust will be completely depleted. The by-elections is going to be a tester for this IBC, a huge test, because young people will be watching. And number 2, that's true. There was a large number of young people who didn't participate. There are people who registered actually, lakini siku ya kupiga kura hawakuenda kupiga kura.
True.
Now that number is actually 8 million. That number that had voters cards, lakini walisema wacha leo nikae nyumbani. That number could have actually determined another president, because it beat both what Rao and Ruto got. Now we're talking about people who didn't register at all. Now to top up to that 8 million that last time didn't participate. I think that there's a generation that really wants to try and believe in this system, but then when they see the choices, they're just not encouraged. Wako like, sasa nikienda hata mtu mwenye nataka hata hakuna. But if we have candidates that inspire people to come out, people will come out. I do believe that. Because even the way our lifestyle is, how the economy is, people really want something different, something new, because they're like, if we have been selecting the same things and we're still here, things seem to be getting worse. I want something new. And if people see someone who can relate to them, I truly believe it will spark an energy for them to participate.
All right. We have literally a minute before the end of the show. Najua kura yako ni siri yako, but who's Kenya's best bet right now in terms of presidency?
Mimi saizi niko kwa kampi ya Maraga. Yes, okay. Maraga na Okia. Yeah. The complete opposite of chenye tumezoea. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nilidhani atasema Gen Z fulani.
Sasa hakuna Gen Z.
The camp there now. But akitokea
Gen Z's are camping there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he said he's campaigning through Wanjiko. Do you think Wanjiko will contribute?
They are contributing. Haujaona watu wameshaanza 100.
Alisema in 2 days he got 500,000.
Yeah. People are contributing.
Yeah. Do you think if he captures power? No, I'm asking this because he's 74. If he captures power, do you think he can actually go an entire 5 years?
Yes. I mean, Rao is 80 what?
Tuachana Rao.
Yeah, ameshafika 80. No, in fact what I like about him, he's like, I'm here and I'm out. Like he's not even interested at the 2-term
second term,
you know.
He just wants to make sure the system is good.
Yes.
Sawa. Thank you so much for coming and having this conversation with us. There are some things you've said there, eye-opening, and I hope we can have you again to have this same conversation, but from a different perspective as well. All right.
Thank you.
Karibu tena sana. This is where we come to a close as far as this conversation is concerned, but don't go too far because we do have another guest. But for now, we shall bid the CEO of Siasa Place kwaheri. Tutamu-invite tena, and of course, hoping that when we come back here, the conversation will take an absolutely superb turn. Right now, though, here's the news with Winnie Maganga.
Thank you.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is Radio Generation. Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. There was morning radio.
I've never seen anything like this.
But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey.
You got it locked.
Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union has demanded the immediate withdrawal of all medical officer interns deployed to Kiambu County. The union cites unsafe and unsupportive working conditions caused by prolonged doctors' strike. In a formal communication issued by KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela, the union warned that the ongoing industrial action in Kiambu has significantly disrupted healthcare services. He also adds that the strike had compromised the essential training environment required for medical interns.
We have doctors from Kiambu counties who are not supported to offer services in the hospitals, and they're tired of supervising death in those medical facilities. The doctors do not have medical cover, and we have to resolve into contributions every month, every 2 months, or every 3 months. And that was the reason why we went on strike. We went on strike because there have been a lot of adversary transfers. That if you raise your voice and say that you ought to have drugs in the hospital, that you ought to have equipment, that you are requiring patients through ambulances, then you're transferred.
The Social Health Authority has released 3 billion Kenya shillings to eligible hospitals to support emergencies, oncology and dialysis services to settle pending claims under the Social Health Insurance Fund. In a statement issued Tuesday, SHA Chief Executive Officer Mercy Mwangangi said the payments followed a detailed review of claims submitted by July 1st, 2025 to confirm compliance with contractual obligations. She also confirmed that payments for maternity and primary healthcare services will be released on Tuesday, July 22nd, following the completion of their respective reviews. A post-mortem conducted on the body of a Nairobi woman has confirmed that she died from manual strangulation. On July 15th, 2025, Susan Njoki was allegedly forcibly removed from her home in Kileleshwa, Nairobi by several men who injected her with unknown substances against her will. Her family insisted that she was in stable mental health and preparing for an international job interview. The post-mortem conducted at the Nairobi City Mortuary revealed that Njoki had suffered trauma. Njoki was the CEO of Toto Touch and a well-known nurse.
We have done this post-mortem very exhaustively, and all the various parties were represented. We did the post-mortem as 6 pathologists, and we are all in consensus with their findings. There is no differing ideas. And the post-mortem findings were that there were features of compression to the neck, and those features are in keeping with manual strangulation. There are also features of lack of oxygen in the blood as a result of neck compression, and all those features are in keeping with death as a result of manual strangulation.
Residents of Nakuru have been left baffled by an incident in which a man killed his 4-year-old son before dying by suicide. The tragedy occurred in Buruburu Estate in Manyani, Kivumbini Ward in Nakuru County. Nakuru Town East Police Commander Samson Adanje confirmed the incident as among at least 4 suicide cases reported on Monday alone. The man, identified as Dennis Michael Nthenge, is believed to have forced his son, who was in PP1, to drink poison before hanging himself inside his home later that night.
Nikamtext kwa nashika kwa anafanya nini, nikatoka nikaenda nikamtafuta penye anafanya kazi, nikamkosa, na ndo nikarudi hapa hivi nyumbani. Masaa ilikuwa inakaribia, pia nilikuwa naingia kazi tena. So asubuhi nikaenda kazi, asubuhi nikakuja tu hata nikeka vitu zangu kama nimeteremka huko chini. Nikaenda nikapata kumefungwa na vifuli 2 na vifungu ziko hapo kwa mlango, nikachukua nikafungua, ndo nikapata mtoto wangu amelala hapo kwa kitanda.
The U.S. Justice Department has asked Ghislaine Maxwell, the long-term associate of disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, for a meeting with its prosecutors, officials said. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said prosecutors plan to ask Maxwell what she knows and that he intends to meet her soon. Calls for more transparency in the Epstein case have intensified recently, including from supporters of President Donald Trump. Epstein, a convicted sex offender, died by suicide in a New York prison cell in 2019 while he was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Yes, indeed, home of hard truths and bold insights. My name is Mongala Mbuvi, and of course, in studio with me is none other than Waiwa Patricia. That is, this is 88.8.
gonna follow these conversations that are quite important.
Right. Early on, we just sat with the CEO of Siasa Place, and she just mentioned a couple of things, and I want us to pick up those things. Same conversation with one Dr. Barak Muluka. He said, "Tumite, is it Barak or
Barak?
Daktari, tukuite aje tena? Is it Barak or Barak?"
Kwa nini unaniita one? You must remember I'm a teacher of English language.
So how should I say it?
I'm
communications advisor and the Secretary General of the Democratic National Alliance. So, Daktari, welcome to Radio Generation.
Thank you. Increasingly, I recognize that there is a proliferation of sham doctors in town. Some of them are doctors of mitishamba, and I think one must increasingly be very clear whether they are doctors of medicine, doctors of mitishamba. I'm a doctor of philosophy and political science.
All right.
From the University of Leicester in the United Kingdom, and therefore I know I advise people in public communications.
Right.
But I think I'm now increasingly less shy of speaking about exorbitant taxation, about and against opulence, about a state of unemployment, and many other vices that the state is responsible for. And the answer is being cut down by bullets. The answer is the state pouring goons and guns into the streets. Then we have the one person who has sworn to defend and protect the constitution, the President of the Republic of Kenya, being given an opportunity in a shrine inside a church, a place that is supposed to be sacrosanct, and he stands there and celebrates the killing of Kenyan youth, the spilling of blood in the streets, and he tells the nation that the police are doing the right thing, that they have not been trained in parenting. Apparently they have been trained in gangsterism, because this thing that is happening can only be called gangsterism. And the minister in charge of internal security comes out and celebrates that kind of wretchedness, and members of parliament will shout from rooftops and say things like shoot and kill. And there is abandon in our sinking into anarchy, and it is state-driven anarchy. So we are in a very bad place. If we flip that coin, toss it the other way, we can see that there is hope that more than at any other time, Kenyans are also completely determined to fight against this entity, that Kenyans are coming out boldly. They are speaking as we speak now. This is a good example that we are in a good place. We have refused to be cowed, that we have youth still coming out, and these are amazing young people that you cut down one of them with a bullet and they will come and carry that person. There's no fear that this is a dead body. They behave in the spirit of courage and patriotism, and it's an indication that in the long run, the liberation of the country from the forces of wicked leadership is assured. So to that extent, in a good place, media is bold. Regrettably, I cannot say so much about the faith-based community that in the past was part of it. Yes, once in a while we hear the mainstream denominations coming out to decry this. We have seen the Anglican Church, we've seen the Catholic Church. At some point also we probably saw the NCCK come out to say something. Christian is completely focused and there's no turning back.
The president recently
and there's no turning back.
The president recently said that he's been attacked, yet he's only been in office for about 2 years and a few months, and he said that he hasn't been given the equal amount of time to perform his duties as previous presidents. And he mentioned, all the way from the times of Moi all the way to the time of Uhuru, that those presidents never faced this kind of resistance towards governance as he is facing right now. What do you think about that statement? Number one, is it true in terms of he's not being given enough time? Because we know for sure dissenting voices are there for a fact. However, he says that it is an unfair judgment so early into his presidency.
So early in the presidency of Jomo Kenyatta, for example, first 2 years, Kenyatta was not killing Kenyan youth in the streets. Moi was not killing Kenyan youths in the streets. Mwai Kibaki was not killing Kenyan youth in the streets, and Uhuru Kenyatta was not killing Kenyan youth in the streets. We must start from there, that it starts with something called life. If we look at liberal democracy, the entire philosophy of liberal democracy, from Thomas Hobbes to John Locke, Francis Bacon, to Voltaire, to Diderot, to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, to Thomas Paine, to the utilitarians. We may want to talk about John Stuart Mill, James Smith, Jeremy Bentham. If we look at liberal democracy, which is what we purport to practice in this country, it starts with life. These people talk about property and the quest to acquire a piece of the action, a piece of the property, and to enjoy it as being the entire essence of the social order. People coming together under organized and legalized formations. It's about who gets what, when, why, and how. And it's about protection of that. But the primary property is the embodied property that is called life, which is granted to us by God and by nature. And without that property, you are not capable of having and enjoying any other property. So the business of government is first and foremost to protect life. The American Declaration of Independence is a good example to borrow from. 1776, saying we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and we dare add women, are born to destroy life, human life. And these are a universal human principle,
right,
against destruction of human life. That's how and why people get completely shocked whenever there is loss of life in any corner of the world, whether it's through natural happenings and disasters, or whether it is through human agency, whether it is intentional, whether it is accidental. We feel very troubled. So if the president has got thus, and MPs come out to say shoot to kill, it is completely absurd for him to mind the other failures, because if you were to mitigate a disaster under this government, and it is unmitigated also in a context where he gave us the parameters of what he expected to achieve. He gave us the template. He set the exam for himself when he was on the campaign trail. And he prepared the marking scheme for himself. And we are looking at the exam that he set for himself. We are looking at the marking scheme. And it's one of those situations in the classroom where the teacher tells the learners that get hold of a pencil and look at your answers. These are the correct answers. Put a tick for every correct answer and an X for every wrong one. And William Ruto has been given that opportunity and is getting X everywhere for an exam which he set, for a marking scheme which he prepared, for the answers which he prepared. And after he has got 2 out of 10 marks, he's saying that you have judged me harshly.
Well, looking at some of the things that Kenyans have judged the president with, of course, I know he promised that once he gets on power, he will work on the cost of living. And we all know the cost of living is not a one-day thing. The issue of the cost of living is not a one-day thing. Do you think 3 months was not enough for him to be able to stabilize the economy in terms of affecting the cost of living?
You come in with a clear agenda. You come in with a roadmap. You come in with a team. Because enterprise and government should also be run as enterprise. Enterprise requires resourcing. Yes, you will come there and you will need funds. You will need human capital as well. You will need time. You will need other resources. But you must have a clear plan that you are going to implement. And President William Ruto, unlike all the others before him, was very clear that his program was based on a plan. He even called it the plan. The definitive article, the. It was the plan to end plans. And he put in place a team. But we also saw that even before he sent that team packing, he was already himself telling them how so useless they were. You remember him summoning them to State House to sign delivery contracts, which were never made public. But you also recall him lecturing them, telling them that you are bogus. I seem to understand your ministries better than you do. And if that is the situation, then something is mortally wrong. And they got involved with opulence, competition against each other to show who had the latest Parisian suit, who had the latest tuxedo from the world of coterie. They were there trying to compete on who was having the biggest car, splashing wealth, opulence. And so that was already an indication that they were on the path to failure. Then, of course, corruption. And we have, thank goodness, institutions of an independent constitutional nature that have been giving us the facts. We have had the location of resources. We have had the Auditor General. We have had other entities that have been reporting, and we have had a very bold and focused media that shows where the country is. And so President Ruto also, and I think this is very important, got there and he thought it was about gallivanting around the globe without really showing anything for it. And we have good cause to believe that that gallivanting was about externalization of resources, creating offshore accounts and infrastructure for externalization of public resources from public coffers to private pockets.
Okay. So, Doctor, as we speak about the issues that are really affecting us right now as a country, my question would be, how did we get here? Because, of course, if it is the issue of unemployment, President Ruto found that issue still existing. If it is the issue of debts, I know, of course, he has increased debts in our country. But from your perspective, how did Kenya get to where we are right now?
It's the wrong template. And anyone who has bothered to follow my ruminations through the media, particularly the print media over the years, will have seen that as early as 2018, 2019, I was writing about a country that was on a powder keg. I was talking about the youth bulge in Kenya and elsewhere in Africa. And I was saying that the institution of government in Kenya and elsewhere in Africa had lost focus of what government was about, and that we had youth whom we were training, but without harmonizing training with the future of the nation being the people. Because many times when we talk about the nation, we tend to confute between the nation and the country, the future of the nation, where we say this is where we want the country to be 50 years hence, 100 years hence. To take the country to that destination, these are the resources that we will need in terms of finances. But these are the human skills that we will need. And because of these human skills that we will be needing, this is the kind of training that we need to give our youth. We shall need so many civil engineers, we shall need so many electrical engineers, we shall need so many doctors, veterinarians, we shall need so many linguists, we shall need so many journalists, we shall need so many experts in ICT, and therefore we prepare our educational curriculum in that fashion, and we plan so that when people leave institutions of higher learning, there is a natural flow into the labor and wealth creation market. But we lost that. We obtain in a context where universities will come out and brag on graduation parades that we are producing so many PhDs, graduates. We have produced so many master's degrees, and now the total number of the people we have trained as this university are so many tens of thousands, without any reflection on where they're going. Universities have also become irrelevant, and it's because of the absence of the research component. That universities are about searching, the search for knowledge, the processing of knowledge, the packaging of knowledge, the dissemination of knowledge. And that knowledge should be relevant to the overall socioeconomic growth and improvement of society. Now that is lost because of the so many square pegs we have had in the round holes that inform planning, national planning and development, and that inform education in the country. And so it is true to a significant extent that President William Ruto has inherited things that have gone wrong over several decades. But as he was asking to get there, he knew where he was going. And so he came with what he called a plan. And we helped him, some of us, to market that plan because we believed in it and we believed in him. And once he got there, he removed the wool in which he was dressed, and the true being underneath came
exposed. So, Daktari, I want us to continue on the same trajectory, but allow me to do traffic for a second. But when we return, of course, I have questions about where that manifesto might have gone wrong. So do stand by for that. But right now, though,
Traffic.
this is what you're facing on your roads right now. I'm looking at a photo, or rather a map of Nairobi County coming from Langata Road. There's no traffic at this particular hour. At exactly 8:35 o'clock, you guys are moving well, apart from a small situation at Madaraka Estate, but that one is just a slight delay of a few minutes, actually might be even a few seconds, but beyond that, you guys are moving well. Looking at Bunyala roundabout as you're joining Uhuru Highway, no complaints coming from that particular area. A slight snarl up, about a 5-minute delay, but you're moving nonetheless. Getting on to Uhuru Highway, if you're heading towards Haile Selassie, hapa kumeshikamana kidogo, lakini kutafunguka punde si punde. Coming backwards to join Mombasa Road, heading all the way, let me go back all the way to Mlolongo. Yes, you guys are moving quite well. I'm looking at Agal Grand Hotel next to the Nairobi Airport, or rather JKIA. No traffic to report at this particular hour. Looking at a little bit of that joining road from Airport North Road, joining City Cabanas onto Mombasa Road. A slight delay. This one could be less than even a minute, if you ask me. But if you're joining from where is this, Old Mombasa Road, there's a huge traffic jam there, but you're moving nonetheless.
Jogoo Road, as I indicated, there's a bit of traffic, especially from Don Home as you head to town, because of that renovation taking place. And of course, kutoka pale City Stadium as you get to town, of course, pale kuna a little bit of a snarl up. Also, Kariakor roundabout, as I indicated, that is also a place where we are seeing a little bit of congestion. When you go to Thika Road, this area of as you get to town, kuanzia pale Ngara Pangani, actually, as you get to town, that is where we are seeing a little bit of traffic as usual. Ngong Road, ukifika pale Community as you head to town, that is where we are seeing a little bit of snarl. And of course, kwa hii roundabout ya City Mortuary, that is where also we are seeing traffic. Places like Junction, for now, they have cleared. Mombasa, things are quite okay. Pale Lights Kengeleni, we are not seeing a lot of congestion. Vitu ni kama zime clear.
All right. Anything on the roads, incidences that you think we should know, please. Radio Gen KE is where you'll find us.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
All right. So in studio we do have Dr. Barak Muluka. He is the SecGen of DNA, that is the Democratic National Alliance, and the conversation is around the direction Kenya is taking. You mentioned that at one point you did support the president to get to where he is right now, as far as maybe campaigns are concerned. You could probably elaborate on that. But most importantly, the people who believed in the manifesto that he provided Kenyans prior to the elections, in your opinion, where do you think things went wrong? Because people loved him for what he offered them, the bottom-up economics and many other things that he mentioned. And he presented this to Kenyans, and Kenyans voted for him. Where do you think the rain started beating him? And why is he not delivering on the same manifesto?
See, you can have a manifesto.
Right.
and use it as a platform of persuading the citizens to allow you tenure in office, to give the reins of office and of power to you. And once you get there, you can look at the manifesto and say, oh, this document here is the manifesto. Then you can throw it away and start doing things that are completely contrary to the manifesto. But I must address the question which you say that I helped President William Ruto to get there. Yes, I did. Number one, as part of exercising my democratic right, choice, and freedom. Number two, as a communications professional who believed in that agenda, which I found very exciting, because it called down the trickle-down model of development, where you believe that there are people who are called the innovators, they invent things, then you talk about early adapters, late adapters, then you talk about the people you call the laggards, who do not know anything. By the time the early adapters have moved to the latest innovations, the late adapters are starting to pick it up. And you see it every day, people saying, oh, let's go to Turkey. That is where now business is. By the time they are getting to Turkey, the world has moved on. There's a new model. Some people are saying, oh, there's money we can make in quail eggs. By the time they get into quail eggs, the world has moved on. Someone else wrote a little book titled Who Moved My Cheese. So by the time you're getting to the corner where the cheese is, it is gone. But there's also a sense in which you can move with everybody from the bottom by holding conversations with them, by getting to understand their felt needs, and therefore delineating very clearly their development needs and working with them towards that. So our role was to help to break this down, and which I think we did quite persuasively, very convincingly and successfully. And we placed a president in State House. Now when he got there, he turned his back against all this. As an honest person, or as an individual who flatters myself with the belief that I'm an honest person,
right,
I cannot carry on with or join the bandwagon of lies and start saying that yes, this is what we meant. We signed 47 contracts. The millions that are shouted about from rooftops percolate to the bottom. They come from the top to the bottom. You're not seeing the bottom-up development. And by the time they have percolated from the top to the bottom, the individuals assembled there are going home with 50 bob. What kind of empowerment is that? That is why we must accept the truth for what it is.
Let me ask you,
President Ruto is a renegade.
Let me ask you something. Devoid of, let's minus this whole issue of maandamano. We minus the whole issue of young people dying in the streets, the police brutality and all that. The president and his team, people who are in government, they have been saying that the president is laying the foundation for a better future, and they have been saying that we shall feel the pinch right now, but in another, I don't know how many years they predict that to be, but in another couple of years we'll start seeing the benefits of the things that he was doing right now. So all these increments in taxes and the levies that have been introduced, all these apparently are for our future. How much of that is true? Because people are shouting in the streets, they are shouting on social media, and we are shouting on the media as well, mentioning everything that is wrong with the government?
Yeah, my brother Mbuvi.
Right.
President Ruto gave us the template. And that template is even timelined about the 47 charters that he signed with the 47 counties. But away from those charters, which are basically contracts, and I thought that was something very beautiful during its time. Is what we will do. And you have participated in town hall meetings with the president to be. If we put those aside and remind ourselves, and I do hope we do not suffer from some kind of selective amnesia, remind ourselves of the first 5 to 6 months of this government, when the outcry was already there about heavy taxation, about the cost of living. President William Ruto, his prime cabinet, and Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, who was in charge of the treasury, were telling Kenyans that it's going to be just for 2 years, which I believe I wasn't. I was right here. They were saying that after 2 years, we are going to have repaid all the debts, foreign and domestic. That after the first 2 years of this government, we will be using our own money to develop the country. And there will be no more borrowing. We had that. And it was drummed up repeatedly. The Hustler Fund, which nobody hears anything about today, was being drummed into our heads every day. It has since disappeared. We also saw that when it was being launched on the 30th of November, I believe it was 2022, that was done in very opaque circumstances. There were very many questions about the sourcing of the funds, about the entities that were managing it. It disappeared. The e-citizen platform, all of which were put in place as some kind of conduits for hemorrhage of public funds from public coffers into private pockets. We must speak of these things. So the bottom line, Sonko, Mbuvi.
Right.
Sorry, you know.
It's okay. I'm used to it. It's okay.
I beg your pardon.
Right.
Mbuvi and Pat. The bottom line is the understanding of why people go into government. I spoke of the American Declaration of Independence that talked about the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They go on to say, and for this reason, government is constituted among men and women. And any government that does not deliver must be removed through democratic means and be replaced with another government. So this government gave us a clear template, which it then put aside. Its philosophy of government became that I want to be rich. It became something like, I can imagine people seated somewhere in some of the innermost sanctums and saying, I shall never be poor again after this. People giving each other and themselves tenders to do business with the government.
Right.
And people therefore losing sight of what is supposed to be done, people beginning to haggle with one another, the fallout in government. I don't need to be a nuclear physicist or a brain surgeon to know that it was about tenders.
You're talking about the one between president and his deputy. Okay.
It's about doing business with government. It's about prebendalism to public resources through irregular mechanisms is one of the rewards of being in a high position in government. That has been the problem, that people have become trillionaires overnight, that even those we knew who could say mzee unaweza kuwa na 10,000 hivi kwa simu unirushie, that they suddenly become sparklingly wealthy. What is the rationale behind the so-called declaration of wealth? If number one, it's not going to be publicized, if number two, it's not going to be monitored regularly, and so where are you now? If there are no independent entities that are going to do that monitoring of where Mbuvi now is, when he came in he had 40 million worth, and now what is he worth and how has it flowed in? So the focus has been wrong-headed, that I want to be wealthy, and then suddenly you are seeing people dancing on podiums, on platforms in the countryside, and saying, mimi mwenyewe, I have brought 30 million. People who could not even afford a decent pair of shoes, they now can bring small change of 20 million, of 30 million
to a fundraiser.
That is the problem. The problem are not the youth in the streets. The youth are only ventilating.
Doctor, there's something that you had said before about you participating in the consultancy services that you gave the president, and especially you talked of a plan that you people gave him about I'm just interested to understand, did you ever give him maybe a plan about on how to fight corruption in the country, how to create these employments? And again, if you did, where do you think the problem is? Because we have had so many times people coming out and saying that we have worked with the president and he cannot take advice. Is that the reason why all these plans that you have given him are not working?
First, we did not give him
any plan.
A plan.
Okay.
We worked together.
Okay.
To develop a plan. And we did not work together in a conclave. I'm hearing now we are talking about conclaves, which
intergenerational conclave,
which are basically secret meetings. We know about the conclave of cardinals that they lock themselves up in a room, and the rest of us wait outside for the white smoke. We don't know the dynamics that take place in that place. We did not sit in a conclave somewhere. We had parties that went out and interacted with Kenyans, and therefore came up with a clear plan in black, white and yellow, and which was publicized and which you can access online even as we speak today. And away from the 5 pillars, because you have asked a specific question on fighting corruption
and employment,
and I think those are 2 things which we can follow each stream in its own right, the creation of employment. But let's talk about corruption. It was very clearly stated that we are going to allow the independent entities that are supposed to fight corruption to enjoy that independence. that we are not going to weaponize and instrumentalize, say, the ethics and anti-corruption entity. Instead, we are going to strengthen it. That we will allow the Kenya Police Service the latitude that it requires to do its work. We will, in fact, strengthen it by making it to be financially independent and to manage itself and its own resources. It's right there that we shall separate and strengthen the judiciary fund from the mainstream consolidated account. It is there. All these strengthening, all these arms, the investigatorial, the prosecutorial, and such others. That's how we saw the fight against corruption. And it is there in the plan, in black, white, and yellow, very clearly stipulated. But what have we seen instead? We have seen people who said they are going to allow the police service to be independent, now saying we have instructed the police to shoot to kill. They are saying police wapige risasi kwa miguu wakitoka huko wakienda kotini, wakienda jela. So it is abdication of responsibility. It is renegation that the president then elects to become a renegade, to run away from that which he has committed himself to. The plan was ideal. I would go with the plan again. But plans are as good as the people in whose laps they end up.
Okay.
All right. We want to take a short break, though, get into the news. But when we return, of course, still revisiting that whole issue of where the rain started beating. Because if there was a plan, yeah, and Dr. Barak Muluka has said that indeed when people got into office, they discarded that manifesto and they decided they're going to be make themselves rich overnight, you know, and we are seeing a lot of corruption, and I like the word you like using here, budgeted corruption. We're going to be talking about that as well, and the direction the country needs to take going forward if we are going to survive and see another election and beyond. All right, so many conversations happening around that particular area, so definitely something worth mentioning. You can find us on our social media spaces, that is Radio Gen KE, on X, on Twitter, on Facebook. It is Radio Generation Kenya. That's where the conversation is taking place. You can also find us live on our website, that is rgk.co.ke. Right now, though, here's the news with Winnie Maganga.
This is Radio Generation. This is...
It's 9 o'clock.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Authorities are searching for at least 16 missing people as investigations into a suspected cult in Benzaro village, Chakama, Kilifi County continue to expand. The group is believed to include individuals who may have been influenced by radical religious teachings and possibly linked to the Shakahola massacre. According to detectives, some of the suspects in custody have revealed that the number of victims may be higher than the initial thought. This includes 6 children reported missing at Siaya Police Station on April 15th. By-elections are expected to reveal just how much influence traditional parties have lost ground in the country, says activist Nerima Wako. The Siasa Place executive director also says youth are rejecting political endorsements and Council of Elders, opting instead to vote on their own terms. She adds that many are running without party backing, pointing to a new wave of independent leadership. Nerima states that Gen Z are preparing to take over the country and parliamentary seats and believes this shift will only grow stronger heading into 2027 general election. Nerima was speaking on Radio Generation's People's Breakfast show.
No, they are not. That's why even with the by-elections that are happening, I'm seeing a lot of youth coming out and saying they are going to stand independent or in smaller parties, which is fascinating to me. I think watching the by-elections when they occur is going to be a huge determinant of how 2027 or future elections are going to happen. These traditional parties are going to be surprised at how quickly they have lost their influence at the grassroots. It's going to be determined by by-elections.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen on Tuesday presided over the official reopening of the newly upgraded Fichua kwa DCI Center at the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters along Kiambu Road, Nairobi. The revamped center is expected to play a central role in strengthening public participation in crime prevention. The platform is set to offer a safe, confidential, and accessible way for members of public to report criminal activities. CS Murkomen emphasized the importance of public trust and citizen involvement in the country's internal security framework.
The Fichua kwa DCI has provided an anonymous platform through which the public, both locally and internationally, can share crucial intelligence on crime. This has helped a great deal in combating crime and improving public safety. With the upgrade of the system, the center is now equipped to respond to the evolving needs of our users. In addition to the toll-free hotline, members of the public can now share information securely via WhatsApp, making the service more accessible and convenient.
Meanwhile, the DCI has launched a WhatsApp number 0709-570-000 to enhance the public's ability to share crime-related information anonymously and securely. In addition to its existing toll-free hotline, the DCI says the upgraded system will allow both local and international users to transmit intelligence directly and discreetly to investigators. Here's DCI boss Mohammed Amin.
Since its inception, the Fichua kwa DCI Center has provided an anonymous and secure channel through which the public, both locally and internationally, can share intelligence on crime via our toll-free number 0800-722-203. With the upgraded system, sir, we are proud to announce that the public can now share information confidentially through WhatsApp at 0709-570-000.
A family from Kiandu slums in Thika is demanding justice after their king, Patrick Kinyanjui, sustained severe burns while under detention at Thika Level 5 Hospital. Kinyanjui had been admitted to the hospital a month ago with stomach complications and later underwent successful surgery. However, he was allegedly held at the facility because he couldn't clear his medical bill. Kinyanjui reportedly attempted to escape by climbing a fence when a hospital cleaner allegedly apprehended him. A staff member at the hospital is accused of pouring an acidic substance on his body, causing severe burns from his neck down to his waist.
Sasa tunaweza taka sheria ichukuliwe juu mtu kuchomewa kwa hospitali na kuwa amekuja na hiyo ugonjwa ya kuchomwa.
Kuchomeka kwake kulipatikanaje? Na ni nani alimchoma? Hiyo ndicho kitu ambacho tunataka kujua.
Amesomwa sana amesomewa hapa kutoka hapa Johero kupanda hivi, amesomwa mpaka hapa, lakini uso tu ndio hajasomwa.
Inasemekana aliweza kushomwa na kitu yenye haijatambulika mpaka saa hii akiwa katika hiyo hospitali. Uchunguzi imeanza mara moja.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But Now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
All right, Radio Generation indeed is where we are at. 90.7 in Mombasa, 88.8 in Nairobi, and of course in Lamu it's 92.6. But I always say we are internationally accepted on rgk.co.ke, and that's why I hope you're tuned in as well. We are also live on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge some of the people watching via YouTube, by the way. We have Eunice Kyoko saying, my favorite political science expert, Tuko Massachusetts, tuned in. And she's saying that she likes the way Barack Muluka says it as it is. Yeah. All right. So
this one Diana here ambao pia anasema kwamba that is my mentor.
Oh, really?
Please pass my regards to him.
Yes.
Of course I will. There's also this one guy called Muthenya. Ajita Muthenya.
Right.
So anasema no, Kenya is not at crossroad. Amesema tu vizuri nini?
Kenya is not at a crossroads.
Yes. Kenya is not at crossroads. And actually I said no noise. Okay, yeah, hapa alikuwa anasema anataja the tribals.
Yeah.
Those politicians who are pushing tribal politics in our country.
Yes. All right. Daktari, welcome back. We were just talking about some of the things that you have mentioned here, some of the issues that we are picking your brain on. There's one that I cut you off. Sorry, we had to get into the news, but I think she had asked something to do. Was it education or employment?
Yes, actually, he had talked about the plan they had about the issue of fighting corruption, and then there was now the employment aspect of it. There's something you have to say about it.
Yeah, first of all, let's appreciate that there were 5 pillars.
Right.
Yes.
And these 5 pillars were interdependent. And in their interdependence, they were going to create employment. That there was the digital economy, for example, that we appreciated that the digital technology was increasingly globally constituting at once the engine and the wheels on which the global economy was rolling. That President Ruto even created a ministry called the Ministry of Information, Communications, and the Digital Economy. And that Mr. Eliud Owalo was appointed cabinet secretary in that ministry. And that I, as Barack, being an expert in public communications, in political science and economy, was one of his key advisors. That the country will remember, and I'll come to the other pillars, that in those maiden days, Owalo was active all over the country, talking about public hotspots, talking about programs that were called Jitume.
These hotspots are for internet, Wi-Fi connection. Okay.
That we were talking about enabling young people through digital jobs. And we were talking about outsourcing of job opportunities for young people. And that even President Ruto himself was very excited about this thing. And we saw that for a while. He visited polytechnics. You remember him in Kabete saying that a young man or woman, for that matter, could make as much as 200,000 shillings per month through this digital outsourcing of jobs. It was clearly an overstated figure, but that notwithstanding, there were those opportunities, and there was movement from one polytechnic to the other, from one marketplace to the other, that we were talking about creating digital warehouses. That now you did not need a physical warehouse in which you stock things, but a digital warehouse where you could say what you want, and within 24, 36, 48 hours max, it's with you. We were talking about those kinds of opportunities.
Okay.
And there were opportunities that captured all markets, including very basic, common, competitive daily markets in Gikomba or wherever, creating opportunities that if therefore you have seen something online that you want, there will be people in between who are going to be employed or to employ themselves. That's why it was called Jitume, to employ themselves as couriers, and they're going to deliver those wares, and the money you have meanwhile paid direct through the digital channels. That we were talking about agriculture as something that was going to spur productivity, and that agriculture would find a meeting point with SMEs. That if you looked at, say, the entire region of this country from Mount Kenya through Nairobi, all the way down the Rift Valley, up to the Lake Basin and to the border of the country, you could convert the whole place into an orchard. And that this orchard would involve everybody in production. Everyone in those spaces who is not involved productively, they could be involved either as primary producers, and if they are producing things like avocados, which would develop within the shortest possible time, you would have the people who are employed as cooperators, and that cooperative officials, and that they would have collection points, and that for those farm produce to get to those collection points, there would be a transportation team or groups,
right,
that where they are going, there would be people who are then collecting and keeping records, that then they move on to the factory for value addition, or they go to wherever it is that they are going to end up for purposes of further sales or value addition. And the backflow would be the returns, which again would require people, so that every Friday or every 2 weeks or every month, people are getting their checks. That you are therefore seeing sustainable human development, and you could move these to bee and honey production. You could move it to the Juakali sector. You could move it to any other sector of the national economy. You are going to generate employment of a sustainable and productive nature.
Okay.
And the SMEs were going to play a very significant role. But that was abandoned. The other, I've talked about the digital platform. We were talking about laying out fiber optic cables, 100,000 kilometers. Ask how many they have done. That story has disappeared.
100,000 kilometers
of
fiber optics. Okay.
And it has disappeared. Nobody talks about it.
I think the last time I checked, they were talking of Mombasa. It had reached Mombasa.
No, this we are not talking about the
sea cable,
undersea cable
within the country.
We're talking within the country.
Now within the country. Okay.
Yes, so that we don't look at it in terms of has it moved from Nairobi to Kericho, for example. No, we are looking at human settlement.
Yes.
Where people are, and when you look at the totality of the cabling, say in Kariobangi, it could go in circular and whatever. When you put the whole thing into people's homes,
right?
And there's a specific fund, a service fund under the Communications Authority that was supposed to do that and take it all the way even to Turkana up to Nadapal on the border with South Sudan. It has all disappeared. So from the digital economy to social health care to agriculture to housing and to the digital economy, SMEs, we were seeing these 5 pillars as going to generate transformation in the country.
Okay.
We were not thinking about shooting young people in the streets because they're asking us, where are you? What is happening? Why are you suddenly very wealthy? Where are the jobs that you promised us? And which is their right to do so. So, repeat, the president reneged. He ran away from the plan.
Okay.
And he no longer talks about it.
Dr. Muluka, of all the things that the president promised Kenyans, again, and I'll ask this question, I asked it previously, but perhaps right now what I'm looking for is a simple yes or no. Has the president done anything out of the manifesto that he promised, he gave Kenyans prior to the elections of 2022? Has he delivered on anything?
You know, complex questions do not take yes or no answers. They take complex answers. Because if you ask Kimani Ichung'wah that question,
yes,
he will say yes.
Okay.
And it's because he's not an honest person. He will then point out to the Shah and tell you, we have registered so many millions
of Kenyans.
And he will look at that as delivery.
Okay.
Without interrogating the functioning of that. And if you were to force me to say yes or no, then I would say no.
Okay.
And if I said no, you'd come and say, we have so many millions who are registered. And so I would look like I was a liar or failing to appreciate. We must interrogate the wider relevance and the utility of that so-called achievement. At the cognitive level, it looks like a delivery, but we must go beyond the cognitive. And then we will say, if you have registered all these millions, are they benefiting? How much are they benefiting? What kinds of conditions are being treated? And the answer therefore becomes no. It has not been fit for purpose.
Okay.
You can talk about the housing program, which I have seen, and you know, you cannot deny the fact that there are some structures, and you can say that our housing program is working. When we were thinking about it, it did not involve things like the kind of taxation and levies that you are seeing. It did not involve the opaqueness that you are seeing around it. We don't know who the suppliers are, who the contractors are. We don't know how those who are paying the levy are going to benefit from it. We don't know what kind of mechanisms are going to be used for ownership of the houses. We don't know anything about the land on which they are being constructed, and therefore what kind of land tenure you get into if you are procuring that property. There's opaqueness that was not part of it.
Right.
We promised openness, open government that was going to overlap all this. So if you wanted to force me to say yes
or no,
then I would say no, although my mind does not function that way. It's a little more complex.
So, okay, so still at that. So from a scale of, because we accept like there is something that is happening. So from a scale of 1 to 10, depending on the knowledge that you know about the plans that you had, the pillars that you had, how would you rate President William Ruto?
Again, that is a question that with profound respect I would look at as pedantic. You know, these computer systems that you have here, for example, they will tell you press this and press that, then they will say continue.
Yes.
And if you have not done something that is mandatory, they will give you some red flags and tell you go back. So to be able to rate Ruto's success, we would need to go through all these gates first before we get to the bottom, to give him 1 or 2 out of 10.
Okay.
And if you are in a place where there is misrule, you have already failed the first test that then allows you to be assessed on all the others. That you have failed the test of protection of the sanctity of human life, that you have failed the test of human rights and freedoms, then you have failed the one which the teacher would not mark your paper. They would cross through it, and they would write there 0.
Daktari, right now, going forward, what do you think the president can do to ensure that, number one, he gets the country back on course, and then number 2, is there any chance that he can convince Kenyans between the time he has right now, the campaign period, and the election date in 2027?
The bigger question, Mbuvi, in fact, ought not to be what the president can do. It ought to be what Kenyans can do.
Okay.
Remember when I borrowed from the American Declaration of Independence, I said, and any government that does not deliver,
yes,
shall be removed and be replaced. Because our concern is not about an individual. It's not about William Ruto. It's about Ruto and his government, which should be removed.
Okay.
If I were to be once again cornered and be told, what do you think Ruto should do? I would say he should resign. Okay. That's what I would say, because he does not have the ability and he does not have the proclivity. Yes, Barack, but you are there. You are one of the people who thought this person would deliver. True, I'm like the team manager who feels my best 11, thinking that they will do the needful, and they don't do it. I cannot pretend after they have failed that they have not failed, or if I've been training you to box, and you get there and you are given the first uppercut, and
I'm knocked out.
You are knocked out. Yeah, I have to accept that you have been knocked out, and we will try some other day.
Okay.
Maybe with a different
approach
or a different team. So that would be it. But perhaps to say he should resign is to push him to an extreme. position, and which he would not want, and which perhaps we shouldn't struggle so much over. If we have survived these 3 years, we can survive another 2.
Okay.
But within that 2-year period, William Ruto needs to demonstrate some measure of goodwill. Number one, to genuinely address corruption. His government and his people should stop this notion and philosophy of in every tender there's something for me,
someone,
something for somebody. They should stop this thing of externalizing resources from public coffers into private pockets. They should restore constitutionalism, allow Kenyans to ventilate. When youth want to go out to demonstrate peacefully, like they once did before the crackdown began, with the flag, with water, with their phones. Allow them that space to ventilate, that people who have been corrupt, the institutions that are charged with that responsibility should be allowed the latitude to do their work. The weaponization, instrumentalization of the police, of the DCI, of the NSIS, of other organs of state for purposes of terrorizing Kenyans into silence should end. That this thing of trying to put in place the rule of terror and rule of fear should end. That way, President Ruto might have some latitude to steer the ship of state to a safe harbor.
Okay.
And having reached there, he should think very seriously before he offers himself for contestation again, because we would not know whether he's just tricking us so that we give him
a second term.
But those are basic fundamentals that he must do. He must scrap this SHA system and give us something that works, that this CBC. And CBC is a whole other
monster
that needs to be addressed. It is creating class divisions, very dangerous ones in the country, that we are creating a generation of people who are condemned to be paupers because they are learning nothing, while at the same time there are other people in the same country who are on different systems of education and who are learning, while the rest of the people are learning nothing. That thing should be accepted as a mistake that we made and go back to a workable. There's a myriad of things. Above all, President Ruto should stop gallivanting across the country campaigning. He should go back to his office and work. If he works, Kenyans might consider giving him another term.
Well, we were talking about Gen Zs. And Gen Zs wametokea and they are so vocal into, they are really agitating for change, especially in the entire leadership of this country. And the other day, Jeremiah Kioni was seated there, and he talked about this issue of deep state. Yes, this is deep state. This is a word. Yeah, so he said that these guys, yes, wanaweza kupata hizi viti, but then they need some people there, the old people that we've been seeing in the government. What is your take on that?
It's not the people we have been seeing in government. I understand the government, I flatter myself at least, with the thought that I understand the architecture and design of government. Also, as I understand Gen Zs. Gen Zs are at once young people who are born between a certain period of time, and at the same time, people of a certain ideological orientation, regardless of when
they were born.
Yes. So that, for example, you could consider me to be a senior Gen Z. Yeah, because absolutely my thinking and the thinking
of the Gen Z
of these young people is bang on. We agree entirely. And that's why even this thing we are calling intergenerational dialogue is neither here nor there. Because the Gen Zs and I believe that the generational Gen Zs and the ideological Gen Zs like myself, we believe that all the answers are already there. They just need implementation. But when you talk about government and you talk about the people who are career public servants, the truth of the matter is that you are talking about what Chinua Achebe has styled as the grasslands and the anthills in the savannah.
Right.
That you're talking about the grasslands of the savannah, where the national executive are the grasslands, and the career civil servants or public servants for that matter are the anthills. The anthills are always there. In the season of rain, in the season of drought, they are always there. The grasslands come in the season of rain. Then they shine, they are verdant, they are lushy, they dance in the winds of the savannah. Then they start drying up. And when the fires, the forest fires come, they burn them and they go.
Right.
Then we see the anthills. Then the rains will come again and they will bring fresh tendrils. Now when these tendrils arrive, they want to dominate that space. They don't ask any question about what happened in the last season, what happened to the grasslands that were there. And the national executive and its appointees arrive in the ministries and in the parastatals overloading with heavy hands, overbearing, draconian. They are the problem. The anthills, the career public servants, lie low when you arrive. You arrive, you find a working system. You disrupt it. You come with your SHA, you throw NHIF overboard. The people you have found there are supposed to agree with you. They are not supposed to advise you. If they advise you and say iko hivi na hivi na vile, you victimize them.
Okay.
In fact, you find these people there and you say these are Uhuru's people. We want to remove them to
bring
put
in
there
line
our own people. You go to the semi-autonomous government agencies that are working very well, you disrupt them. You have come up with the new things and none of them is supposed to advise you contrary to any opinions that you may be having. So when you go away after 5 years or after 10 years, the new person comes. And unfortunately, people arrive in State House and they know everything. Overnight. Because you have become president. Now, you are omniscient. You know everything and everybody else is just supposed to toe the line. You are made a minister, you arrive there, you know everything. You don't listen to the people you have found in the ministry. You come with your own people, including advisors.
Okay.
Some of the advisors who know zero about the things that the ministry is doing, and the advisors are trundling around, throwing their weight around in the corridors, intimidating everyone. So I don't agree with this thinking that, oh, we need our own people. There are people who are protecting their jobs there. They have been there for 40 years. They are waiting for retirement. They've been there for 35 years. They are waiting for the day they are going to retire. They don't want you to sack them. So they just lie low and keep quiet. And everything you say, they say, yes, sir. Yes, madam. That's where the problem is.
Daktari, you being the SecGen of DNA, what are you offering the youth, first of all, within the party and in terms of national politics? Because the youth right now are clamoring for representation, but most importantly, they are clamoring to just take control of their own lives through leadership. What is DNA doing right now?
We must create space for young people to occupy positions of leadership, not as tokenism, but effectively. And it must begin by bringing these young people into the governing organ, the National Executive Committee, and who are receiving people who already believed that the moment of change had come. Because if you're saying we want to lead, you must also seize the opportunity. And these young people should be given democratic space post that to compete for office. Persons like Barack, like myself, strictly speaking, should refrain from competing against these young people for power. My role
within the party, or
even within the party, I have coaches tend to be a little elderly.
Yes,
you don't train the team and then you also go to the pitch
to play with them.
To play.
You sit on the sidelines.
You sit on the sidelines and say, this is the team that I have
coached.
That is what people like Naomi Sidi, Barack Mluka, and others who are now senior have in mind, that we will show them and prepare them to go and meet these gladiators, and they're going to be very ready for the task.
You know, there's something that I have picked. He has said that.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
And God has given me my mouth. In fact, when I arrived in day one, I announced that I have arrived with a loud cry.
Yes.
I said they have said they are leaderless. And that's what they have said.
Yes, they have said they are leaderless.
Yes, they are leaderless. And we are here, some of us, who are of the same ideological, be of different generations. And because of the congruence of thinking, we also see the opportunity to provide leadership. And to provide leadership does not mean that I intend to be the one who should be president. No. In fact, I do not intend to run for any office or even to accept any
nomination
post
27
post the delivery. After I have delivered them, I should also have coached enough people to run the party, and I vacate that space and do the things that I like doing most.
All right.
Okay, you know why I had asked is about the question is because Gachagua, we saw the former deputy president akienda kule majuu, ameenda kule na akasema nini? Akasema tumewaambia Gen Z waache, sasa ni sawa, that is enough, waache maandamano.
No, they shouldn't. I don't buy into that. In fact, we have talked a lot about President Ruto and his government. We also need to flip that thing the other side and ask ourselves a few questions. I'm aware that I live in a country where people see things in binary opposition, that it is either this or that. And when you try to position alternative thinking to those two, you are then classified as a project of one or the other, and which I think is diversionary. There is a wrong ideological approach in this country, that one, you want to take advantage of these young people for them to place you in office. I think the youth should reject anyone who wants to use them to place themselves in office. Anyone who patronizes them and tells them tumewambia sasa wacha hiyo imetosha. The youth are not the problem. The people who are coming to batter them in the streets are the problem. And any advice of that nature should be condemned. I think those who need to be advised are the people in power to allow Kenyans of all ages, denominations and definitions, the freedom to express themselves, even and including expressing themselves through picketing and demonstration, which is constitutional. But within this delicate space that we are in, the young people also need coaching by men and women of goodwill. In my own home, I have raised children who are now adults, and just like my father, I should prepare to cede certain responsibilities. In fact, you take a lot of comfort in seeing your progeny doing the things that you used to do, and they are doing them very well. And so part of our agenda, therefore, is to populate the leadership space with young people, and also to refuse to patronize them because they are not that young. They are not as young as we think. When Acheng Oneko was detained in 1953, he was 33 years old. And people like Tom Mboya at that time were in their early 20s, but they were already on the national landscape, and they were able to guide the country up to the checkpoint of independence. So we talk about these people as young only because we like to pretend that young people cannot lead. We need, in fact, to infuse them with the belief that they can lead, with faith in themselves, and play only the role that the coach plays, and allow that team to go into the field. And after they're there, allow them to carry on.
In terms of youth taking up these positions in political parties, I have very limited knowledge as to how that should and can happen. But is there a financial implication? If a young person from Kiambu County comes to DNA and says,
free. When we get to the election season, some modest levy, as will be negotiated within the party and with all the organs, shall be made, because you need funds to be able to do the campaigns, to move from point A to point B, even to carry out the primaries that then determine who should run. We will get there. We are not people who are thinking about exploiting these opportunities for our own economic gain. If you have followed me closely, then you will see that I lead a very modest lifestyle. When we finish, we will go out and you will see that in spite of having been an advisor to William Ruto and Eliud Owalo and other people, I still drive my 18-year-old 50 cc. I do not see any urgency to acquire anything more elaborate.
Did you say 250 cc?
Yeah.
That's a motorbike. But anyway, carry on.
To 2,500.
Oh, 2,500.
Because
for a second I was like, hey.
I wanted to say 250.
Okay. All right.
But you know, a slip of tongue is also allowed.
It's
but
okay.
you can come outside and and confirm.
Okay.
After this. So it's about the country. It's not about...
Yeah. And the reason actually I brought it up, I wasn't necessarily specifically talking about the DNA party, but also just because there's this, we sat here with a youth leader from Kanu, and and he said that he would wish to see a country whereby the youths are taking up positions within political parties. So that's URP, UDA, DNA, and ODM, and any other party, Wiper included. And in my mind, I was thinking that's a good idea, changing things from the inside, and then probably now seeking positions from a party that is probably well known, if it's ODM, if it's Wiper, if it's UDA. But now my question again goes to just to find out the financial implications of joining parties, which you've elaborated. I don't know if UDA or Wiper operates the same way DNA does in terms of free registration, but now when it gets to campaign season and things are intense, and you've said that you will need some modest funds, which I highly doubt will be modest, but you need some funds to get from one point of your county to the next if you're seeking maybe to be an MP, right? So I don't know how that will work. Do you foresee a situation whereby that might cripple the youth because hawana pesa lakini wanataka hizi nafasi?
If the youth are the preponderant population across the country, age 18 to 35 constitutes about 65-70% of the Kenyan population today.
Yes.
Push it up a little bit and say 40. Anyone who is 40 years in this country today, from where I am, is still a youth.
Yes.
From where I am, there are people today who are aged 32 years, 33. They cannot even remember a single day in President Moi's tenure. They can't, because they were so young, but now they are the youth. If that demographic is already persuaded that there is need for change, and if that demographic is already everywhere in the country, then we expect that there shouldn't be too much of a need for huge amounts of money. It is perhaps very optimistic thinking on our part, but let us allow ourselves to think that way. Perhaps it will not bear fruit, But we will go away satisfied that we tried.
Okay.
Because the young people are everywhere. What do people do with the campaign kitties in this country? They use the kitties to treat voters. And you can see that the government of the day has already begun. These things that you see them saying out there, economic empowerment. Last evening I saw on TV a lady who had been given 2,000 shillings to distribute among 30 people. Her group.
2,000 shillings.
Yes.
Yeah.
The amount of money I fuel to get to the office.
Her group has 30 people.
Women, yes.
No, we don't need to do that kind of thing. We are going to tell the young people that this is your opportunity. Take it or throw it. Franz Fanon famously said that every generation has got the responsibility to discover its mission, and having discovered it, it should choose either to fulfill it or to betray it. And that opportunity for this mission, for this young generation, is here and now. They can seize it and fulfill it, or they can throw it. As Barack, this being my final experiment in these things, remember I belong to a small demographic that is perhaps less than 5% of the Kenyan population today. Sisi watu wale tulikuwa hapa tukaona uhuru. People who saw Jomo Kenyatta. We people who can tell you where we were the day we heard that Tom Mboya had been gunned in the streets of Nairobi. We who can remember where we were and what we were doing when J.M. Kariuki, the news broke that he had been killed, and who remember the sequence of activities. We who were there in 1982 and saw the coup d'etat that people only read of in history. We are very few. We must prepare the country for the future, and having done so, exit that space.
There are some quarters in this country that think that former DP Gachagua is a project that was created by the deep state to come and divide votes from the Murima region, or create an antagonist to the government, because right now Raila has been neutralized, for lack of a better word, as far as the opposition is concerned, and so they need this villain in the opposition that Raila used to occupy, so that they can fight the government, and the government will look like it's working. There are also other individuals in that same line of thinking who are thinking that perhaps DNA was born so that they can scuttle the Tawe movement, a movement I'm still yet to understand. But it's the same line of thinking whereby create this monster so that they can fight this other monster. Things will look like they're working. In very few minutes, because we have like 2 minutes to go. Is that the reality on the ground?
I don't know about Rigathi Gachagua, but I know, I followed his history up to the point where he was impeached, that before the impeachment he even apologized to William Ruto and told him, please forgive me, my brother. But Ruto did not, and after that he has been extremely acerbic. My apprehension about him gravitates around the ethnic supremacy that he seems to be pushing. And I see him and William Ruto to be cut from the same cloth. I've made a mistake before with William Ruto, which I completely regret, and I believe and share in those with those who believe in the thought that William Ruto must go. But I don't think that replacing him with Rigathi Gachagua is going to be a solution. The problem we have in this country is systemic, and we have been putting there individuals one after the other who carry on with the same thing. We close our eyes.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Ministry of Health has launched a series of strict reforms targeting irregularities in the Bachelor of Science in Nursing internship program. This follows an internal audit that revealed widespread flaws in how interns were placed across the country. Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale, while addressing representatives from universities offering nursing courses on Tuesday, said the measures aimed to restore transparency, accountability, and order in internship program system. He stressed that the changes are intended to align the program with the country's broader health workforce needs and